So the 49ers will have that chance to get their offense in motion early. Back, Derek Harmon and Monroe. Harmon, one of the best in the league at running these kickoffs back. That's Monroe fumbling the ball at the 5. And good coverage by Houston puts it out to the 17-yard line. 1st and 10 for San Francisco. Joe Montana, the #1 rated quarterback in the NFC. Wendell Tyler, about 6th in the league in rushing right now. Roger Craig, the team's leading pass receiver with 28. Dwight Clark had a big game against Pittsburgh, even though the team lost. And Mike Wilson, a fast improving wide receiver. Russ Francis, Bubba Paris, Ayers, Quillen, Cross, and Fawnhorse is back in there after missing his first game last week in 90 consecutive starts. That's a good offensive unit and perhaps one of the very, very best. Montana's first down now on the 17-yard line. Inside play to Wendell Tyler. Wendell may have fumbled. He's been holding that down this year, but the crowd tells you they didn't come up with it, but Wendell did lose the handle.
Quick draw that time that the 49ers used to great success a couple weeks ago against Atlanta. They handled the nose guard with the center and Randy Cross out on the linebacker, and Wendell did fumble, but the Niners got it back.
5 fumbles for San Francisco. They've lost, but they didn't lose this one.
This is a draw. It's a quick one. You see Roger Craig threw Randy Cross 51 on the linebacker. Quillen handled the nose guard 67. Stinsrud by himself, and Wendell had good yardage, but you see the ball is loose.
I think Russ Francis came up with that, the big tight end that moves very well, even though he's 242 pounds. 1st and 10. Montana being chased out of the pocket. He's not a great runner, but he's a smart runner. Another first down and out of bounds, and is still tackled out of bounds by Avon Riley. Here's the defense, and they do have their problems, but they're young too. Ham Stinsrud is 305 pounds at the nose. Jesse Baker has 6.5 sacks, a pretty good pass rusher at the right end. Linebackers, Avon Riley, Bingham, who's been in since 1975, Abraham, who's the leading tackler, and Brazil, who's been here since 76 and all-pro most of that time. Brown, Willie Tullis having some problems at the corner. Bostic and Hartwig, the safety men, they're going to be chasing people all afternoon. Nehemiah is in the game for the first time, the world-class hurdler. 1st and 10 from the 39. Inside drive goes Wendell Tyler. A pickup of about 6 yards as Abraham makes his first tackle of the day.
And nothing fancy, just straight ahead stuff here. Jerry Glanville, the defensive coordinator for Houston, told us yesterday that he's a great student of Bill Walsh's offense. He used to be the defensive coordinator at Atlanta, and he said that 49ers used to try to trick you. He says they don't have to do that so much anymore. They can just come out and smack you. And they got a pretty good smacker right there in Wendell Tyler. Look at his average yards per carry.
Boy, I'll tell you, Quillen told us that all you have to do is get part of a block, and Wendell's into the hole and makes you look pretty good. You don't have to overpower people. 2nd down and 5 on the 44. The screen developing to the right side. This is number 33, Roger Craig. Pretty close to another first down and just short of midfield as Bingham gets his first tackle.
It was a perfect setup for that screen that time for the 49ers because the linebacker over on that side, Avon Riley, number 53, was blitzing.
29th reception for Craig, becoming more valuable all the time, isn't it?
Caught 14 in the last 2 weeks, Roger Craig has, and in his entire college career at Nebraska, he caught 12.
You can see the matchup. Looks like it could be one-sided, but don't get too statistically into this. This could still be a very tough football game with some turnovers.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Tom. If we saw the ball on the ground a couple times already, and the 49ers have one of those days where they're having a problem hanging on to the ball, anything can happen. I know Houston wants to do just what Pittsburgh did to the 49ers last week. That's stay close until the end of the ball game, then hope that something good happens.
And somebody said that the opening game of the season that this young team fought the Raiders physically about as tough as anybody has, maybe other than Denver.
And Miami last week.
Russ Francis and Earl Cooper, 2 of the tight ends. Cooper, of course, the motion man, the former running back that is making that adjustment. There goes Tyler in motion. Montana on first down. Good throw, good target. Number 85 comes down with it. Mike Wilson. Well, he's beginning to fit into the diversified plan of Walsh's too, isn't it?
Great receiver. He is playing for Freddie Solomon, who's missed 2 or 3 games with a pulled hamstring. But you remember Mike Wilson from last year when he came on for Solomon, or Dwight Clark rather, in the playoff games and performed so well. Caught a couple touchdowns against the Redskins in the NFC Championship game. He's quality.
And Quillen told us something. He says these are a big, strong bunch of kids on the line of scrimmage, but we might get to them early and be a little bit quicker Looks like that's how they're blocking right now. Second down and about a foot. Tyler has that and more. Breaks through inside the 30 to the 27-yard line. Keith Bostic takes a ride there, the young safety man from Michigan.
Right up behind the block by John Ayers. Kind of a full play right here. Watch number 68 come through from his left guard. He'll be out in front and get a block right there in the hole. And Wendell Tyler, no one gets in the secondary any quicker than Wendell Tyler.
Now if you get a little bit too anxious to come up and plug the holes, they'll clear that area out, and Dwight Clark or somebody will come through and have a first down pass or more because you're trying to stop the run. Tyler with 27 yards already, and the 49ers are rolling here in the first quarter. Straight drop back. Going for it all and overthrowing everybody is Montana. Nehemiah was closely guarded there by number 24.
Steve Brown, the cornerback over there. They try to get him to bite on a post pattern, and then the Nehemiah took it on up after giving a post move, but Brown hung right in there with him.
And you almost throw it beyond him all the time because you figure he's going to run past most of your pitches.
Well, Joe was kidding around with us yesterday about his arm strength. He said if there's one thing I could probably do better, is you look at Hugh Campbell, the Houston coach, is get the ball downfield better, but I'll tell you, he's the quarterback of the 80s, I think, Montana. His type, anyway.
You sort of liked Hugh Campbell yesterday in our meeting, didn't you?
Sure did.
Second down and 10 on the 28. Montana play action. Going for the slant pattern. Number 81, the big fella, Russ Francis, who has good enough speed to be able to move to the outside receiving spot and come in there like one of the smaller fellows. Hartwig making the stop there.
Well, they figure that they move Francis out. Number 36, Hartwig, will be out there with him. And they'll get man-on-man coverage. Let's see if they did. And it looked like they were playing a deep zone, and Montana just dropped it down in front. They felt they could complete some balls in front of that zone today because the Houston plays an extremely deep zone when they play it.
49ers, they won the toss, got a bad kickoff return, and have simply stuffed it right down Houston's throat. The Oilers have not had the football yet. Here's the handoff to Wendell Tyler going outside. Good blocks on the outside. Ayers pulling, and Tyler gets inside the 5 to the 4, and the flags are down.
Tommy, that's a play that they've run with great success over the years. It's going to be against the Niners.
Looks like Cross got out in pretty good shape on the outside, didn't he?
All that is the old Green Bay sweep. 49ers just call it 18 Bob.
Or 18 Wendell, right?
Holding, still first down, 10-yard penalty.
Randy Cross was called for holding, and obviously Coach Walsh is perplexed.
But you can tell what he had in mind. As we mentioned, he said he could control the game running today. He wanted to run at least 35 times, and they have come out and just really controlled the line of scrimmage here immediately in this ballgame.
Consecutive first downs from deep in their own territory, and they're now deep in Houston territory. This is a big play, though, for them on this drive. First and 20 from the 22. Tyler's in motion. Montana straight drop back. He's got time in the flats. This is Craig. Craig gets one good block, uses the speed to the 11-yard line. Boy, does he fit into an all-purpose, versatile offense.
Watch him flood an area here. Wendell Tyler will go in motion. Roger Craig will go out that side right in behind him. They'll bring a couple linemen out very quickly. It actually turns out to be a screen, and you see Tyler downfield getting a block. And Craig can run after he catches it as well as anyone that's a pure fullback in this league.
Randy Cross got that good block after being called for holding. He came right back and took Avon Riley out of that play. And so we're at second down and 9 on the 11. Clark and Wilson in there. Touchdown receivers. Montana being chased. Throws on the run. Oh, what a throw. Touchdown, Francis.
Not a thing you can do about it defensively. Really not.
Fred Astaire.
They tried to flood a zone again over there on the right side, and Montana dropped back and didn't see anything and bought time by getting out of the containment on the left side, and then it's just a scramble.
And you know he knows when to scramble, doesn't he? He doesn't leave too early so that the linemen don't know that their blocks are being appreciated.
Watch him here now, looking left. That's where he wanted to go. Nothing there. Now, he told us, he said, you don't want to spend too much time looking for the first guy. Look at that throw. Going to his left, off balance, spot the open guy. That's so discouraging for a defense.
And he didn't even have to overthrow it. A lot of quarterbacks would have tried to throw it through him. Wergin's kick out of Montana's hole is good. Opening drive, a 7-pointer. 9:56 left in the first period, and the Oilers haven't struck yet. The man they call Mo Wershing will kick off as he pounds that ball a little bit to get it softer. A second touchdown catch reception for Francis this year. Roaches is is to the left side. Herky Walls, number 82, to the top of your screen. Look out for him. He had a 97-yard return a year ago. Worsham is kicking it 5 yards deep in the end zone. The Oilers watch it go out of the end zone and will take over on their own 20-yard line. The numbers on that scoring drive was it a beauty. 10 plays, 83 yards. That's an 8.3 average. Time 5:04. 11-yard pass dancing to the left.
You realize that 10 different 49ers have caught touchdown passes.
It's hard to defend somebody like that, especially when you're very young. And as Glanville told us, he's going to have a lot of his rookies in and out of the lineup. They were on defense 44 plays against Miami at halftime. That's a lot of plays in one half for a defense. First offensive play for Warren Moon and the Oiler Express. Going in motion. The toss. Back to Moriarty. We'll do that lineup in a minute. Moriarty maybe with a couple of yards. He had 66 against Miami. Here it is, Warren Moon, the man down from Canada, and look for him. He's 50%, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He's a good-looking young quarterback and a great athlete. Moriarty out of Notre Dame in Northern California. Chris Dressel from Stanford. Herky Walls, a 9'2", 100-yard sprinter. And Timmy Smith, who caught 83 balls a year ago to lead the NFL, and we didn't hear anything about him until we got to town. Jamie Williams, Salem, Munchak, Matthews, Schumacher, and the number 2 draft, and their number 1 pick, Steintuler, the big all-pro kid or the all-American kid from Nebraska. They are very large and very young. Moon's first pass on target. Smith takes it, steps out of bounds. It'll be an Oiler first down on a nicely executed down and out.
You talked about Timmy Smith, Tom, and last year he did lead all the wide receivers in the National Football League with 83 catches. It was his 4th year in the league. His 3 previous years, he had 4 receptions, so he came out of nowhere.
From Nebraska, they tell me he led the Big 8 in punting a couple of years, that he could actually do that if Johnny James ever had a problem. It's funny, though, nobody acknowledged him. I think Football News put him on the All-AFC team. That's the only one he made, but he had 83. First and 10 now. Moon right on target very smoothly with that last pass. Line of scrimmage, their own 32. Moon throws it. Smith has it.
Boy, Smith made a great adjustment that time. Good hands. They said, you know, the only knock against him is he doesn't have great speed, but you get it close to him and he'll catch it. He showed you there.
Williamson had him covered pretty well. Here's the defense. Stuckey, Tuiasa Sopo, who's got a hip pointer, and Dwayne Board, who's just having a great year. What a great player he is. Buns, Ellison, Jack Reynolds, the veteran, and Keena Turner, certainly a Pro Bowl linebacker, at least in my book. And this linebacking group in 4.5 seasons has 60 interceptions between them. Lott, Wright, Williamson, and Hicks. There are none better. Second down and 4 on the 38. 2 complete passes. Dressel comes, gets the trap block that does not open the hole up, and Moriarty gets a headache.
That's just great reaction on defense. Dressel come in motion over the middle, and he actually ended up trap blocking a defensive end, but Ronnie Lott was up there from a cornerback position like a linebacker and gets on the hit in the hole.
Herky Walls had some problems downfield with Eric White, and the crowd seemed to sense that they were ready to do combat, but I think Herky thought better of it. When you've got that kind of speed, you don't have to fight anybody. Just keep moving. Third down and 4 on the 38. The Oilers sat on the sidelines with their coach. You see there he is, Hugh Campbell, and watched the 49ers go pillar to post and put the first touchdown on with the opening drive.
Nickel in there for San Francisco.
Well, it's a tough defense. They're smart, and they know where to go. May not have gotten the playoff in time. Moon taking the extra second or two. A little altercation on the line of scrimmage there.
Ricky, Hugh Campbell told us when we listened to this call.
Delay a game offense, 5-yard penalty, still third down.
Hugh Campbell told us that when he came to Houston and Warren Moon came to Houston with him, that he didn't change Houston's terminology. He didn't use the terminology that he used up in Canada with Warren Moon. So Warren Moon had to learn an entire, not only a new play system, but terminology also, and new defenses. And he's taken a little bit longer time in the huddle than he normally did before. That's the reason for that. You might see a lot of that today.
And of course, in Canada, they only get 3 plays anyway, so you have to think about the extra play you've got. From the shotgun, Moon, good-looking throw to the outside, just off 81's fingertips. That's Bryant, who was in there. Couldn't hang on to, but the ball was thrown very well.
The ball was right on the money, actually. It could have been caught, and it showed you something about Moon's arm throwing that deep out pattern.
Mr. Dangerous back for the punt. James, the veteran that was 12 years in the league. This is his 13th season, over a 40-yard average. He used to be with Atlanta, most of you recall. Not a great hang time, but a very crafty, good, consistent punter. And this guy can go coast to coast. McLemore, one of the better punt returners around. Matthews is snapping. Here's James's kick. It's a medium kick. McLemore at the 29, bobbles it. Keeps his hands on it now, breaks a couple tackles. Look out. McLemore to the 47-yard line, and looked like he was going to have a fumble or a 1-yard return, and made a plus out of it. A lot of action, some of it on the extra side. 7-0 San Francisco. Some 49er fans here in the Astrodome in Houston. Montana for president. That doesn't say president is endorsed by Montana. This is a very political time we're in right now. Tyler, by the way, with 27 yards already on 3 carries. Play action pass. Montana going for Mike Wilson, who has it for a moment and lets it get away. And he was open on the sidelines. Bostic coming over, but he was really beaten on the play.
Montana tried to touch it in. Number 20, Tolis, will try to throw it over the top of him now. And this is what we talked about. Montana, not the strongest arm in the world when you need to fit it in places. Look right there. He just dropped it in over number 20, Tolis.
Looked like he unloaded it before Mike had even made the outbreak. Huh? Big offensive line. Paris has got to be 305 by now. Montana is already 5 of 7 for 52. And of course, he got the golden ring, got a touchdown already. Inside is Wendell Tyler, gets out around the corner, looking for a block that never materialized, and may have gotten to the 49, but had to work for it. Big Bob Ham, number 90, dumped on him there.
Same sweep again that we talked about earlier. And 24, the cornerback, Steve Brown, also did a fine job of staying on his feet and keeping it contained.
The size of that Bob Ham, he's 275 pounds out of Nevada, Reno. And of course, Stensrud at the center nose tackle position is 308 pounds. And Big Baker is 275. But sometimes quickness beats mass. 3rd down and 7. Ball is right on the 50, call it. It's short of that loop. Montana straight drop. Dumps it right out to Carl Monroe. Monroe's breaking the tackle inside the 40. Monroe inside the 30 and to the 28-yard line in a hurry. Steve Brown trying to collar him there.
On the second quick screen that has worked for the 49ers, this time to the left to Carl Monroe. Roger Craig went motion right. Watch this. This is like about a 5-step drop. No hesitation at all. Look at the 2 linemen out in front here. There's Quillen, the center, number 56, gets out, and Monroe can move. He's only about 165 pounds. He can jet.
The plays are mixed up so well.
Can't get any kind of tendencies on the 49ers.
1st down and 10. The ball is on the Houston 28. 49ers just keep that pressure on, especially the first half. Looks like Montana may have changed the play, going for the slant pattern. Has Mike Wilson. Knew he was going to get hit and took it to the 16-yard line as Hartwig gave him a pretty good shiver, but he held on.
I think Montana thought he was going to get a blitz that time and called a pattern where Mike Wilson would be slanting in from his wide receiver spot, and if they did blitz the safety, it would be wide open. They didn't blitz, but Montana got it in there to him anyway, and Wilson took a lump.
Now, does Dwight Clark draw double coverage down this close, or will people gamble that they can maybe put speed on Dwight and hold him off, or will he get a double sometime?
Well, they'll pay special attention to him on 3rd down. 1st and 2nd downs he doesn't get much, but later on he does.
1st and 10 on 15. Good point, Wayne. The toss back to number 33, Craig, Roger Craig. Pulled down after maybe a yard as Jesse Baker really recovers and makes a good play to the outside.
Baker had to, because Robert Brazil, the linebacker, was down on a block by Earl Cooper. Watch it right here, 89 Cooper in motion. If he cuts Brazil, he's down. Now that's just pretty good hustle from the inside. People coming out and helping out because the linebacker had lost containment.
And speed at 275 pounds. Yeah. Great defensive play.
Excellent.
Again, we keep telling you they're young, and young people make great plays, and sometimes if you don't have success when you're young, you lose your confidence in the second half of football games, and that's happened before. This team's tough. The toss back to Craig. The Husker gets inside the 10-yard line to about the 8. Sosha making the stop there. Looks like Glanville's using a lot of new defensive people, so you'll have some fresh troops around when the 3rd and 4th quarter comes around.
It's important for this defense that you're looking at right now on third down here. And you mentioned Dwight Clark. Okay, he's back in the ball game now. So Glanville knows from his years at Atlanta that that's who Montana looks for first, basically, in these situations. We'll see what they do with him out here as he comes out split left. And it looks like right now he's getting single.
Smart receiver. It usually has options on his patterns. It's third down and 4 on the 9. Montana going outside. Trying for Cooper, who was bounced off. No flag. And there's an Oiler hurt on the 20-yard line. Big Brian Sosha is now trying to get up. That is a very hard floor. Wayne Walker, you played down here in the Astrodome. Is that a piece of cement or not?
That's a newer one since I played here, and it's a little bit softer than the original one, but it's just only the second one that they've put in this building, and it's got a fairly good padding time, but there's just a ton of seams out there in it. You can see there, Sosha, they were near one with him.
This man won the Grey Cup 5 years in a row up in Canada, but Frisco leads 7-0 right now. You're looking back there as the doctor talks to Brian Sosha. He walked off, the big fella did, under his own power, so he really is just being sort of rested again right now. Wershing tried this field goal. It'll be a 26-yarder. Dead solid, perfect. Had the ball twice. One was a touchdown, and the second a field goal by Mo Sheenman. I think one of the most accurate kickers, particularly from the 40 in, that's ever been in this game. San Francisco 10, Houston nothing in the first. The president and head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, Bill Walsh, he called young Hugh Campbell this week and said, don't worry. My first year, I only won 2 games, and Landry, his first year, only won 1. The 5-yard line, Herky Walls has it. Gets to the 20-yard line, and good coverage by San Francisco stops a very dangerous return man.
Hugh Campbell and Bill Walsh go back a ways, Brookie. Hugh Campbell played on a high school team in the Bay Area, and Bill Walsh was coaching another high school team in the Bay Area. They played on Halloween night a few years ago. Both teams were orange and black, and the game ended up in a 13-13 tie.
Those numbers you see, San Francisco 12th, 15th, and 12th. Remember, that's in the entire NFL, and they are crafty and they're smart on defense. And I think the Oilers are simply young on offense. Those numbers might be deceiving, too. In another year, if perhaps with 2 #1 drafts, the Oilers would decide to go for Mr. Byers at Ohio State or somebody like that, they could turn this around very quickly.
That's right. Hugh Campbell said that, we can't be having 11, 12 rookies make our team every year. We can't have every year be a rebuilding year. We've got to go for some impact players. He said that offensive line that we've got now with 1 and 2 draft choices are going to be around when the good people get here.
Steinfiller, the big All-American from Nebraska, is playing out of position and doing very well at right tackle this year. 1st and 10 from the 20. Ocean is behind Moon. Warren Moon being rushed. Grant holds on to the ball and takes the sack. Stuckey came around the corner, almost got a fumble, but a very clever move by Moon kept him from turning it over.
Take a look at it. He just lose control himself, or did somebody have a hand in there? Couldn't tell from where we were. Take a look on the replay here. Good job downfield now by the 49ers secondary. No one's open. He wanted to go to his tight end, Dressel, who was covered. I think it just slipped out of his hand right there, and then he came back up with it.
There's a 49er down on the field at the 15-yard line. Wayne Ford spinning and coming in there. They'll try to mix up this young offensive line, won't they, with a few games and stunts on the line of scrimmage, this veteran San Francisco defense?
They'll do that, and they'll use a lot of people, so they have fresh people in there all the time.
It's 10-0 San Francisco. Dwayne Board is okay. He was the 49er temporarily down on the turf. Boy, what a great pickup he was. The Steelers cut him, and Board came right with Coach Bill Walsh to San Francisco, and what a great player he is. They missed Fred Dean, but they've still got a great defense. 2nd down and 15 on the 15. Moon, sidearms one almost picked off, intended at the 26-yard line. Steve Bryant, who was trying to come across the middle. Moon sort of sets his feet down. He throws flat-footed some.
He did that time. And that's the problem we talked about at the top of our telecast, that the fact that Houston has fallen behind early in almost every game, and then they have to go away with what they think they can do and like to do with that young offensive line, knocking people off the ball. They have to go to a passing game, and they're not ready for that right now because they don't have a lot of speed.
And you got your defense on the field for 44 plays a half. They can't take that either. Moon under pressure, moves well, throws it out in the flat, gets it to Stan Edwards. Edwards puts his head down, gets to the 27-yard line, and it's going to be short of the first. Ronnie Lott met the big running back there. Good play by Moon to get it out there. Edwards goes 215 out of Michigan, and Lott met him head-to-head.
And we told you the comparisons between Moon and Montana. Watch it right here. He makes something happen out of nothing. Can't find anything. Moves around, buys some time, and throws on the run. It looks like the guy in red.
Ronnie Lott gets around the ball a lot, doesn't he? Just seems to like contact. He says he could almost have played back with you and I played. He likes that kind of effort, I guess. Fourth down punt now. 4th and 3. It's James back to kick it. And McLemore, who had a real good return to trigger that last drive, ready at about his own 30. This is a tremendous punt by James. McLemore driven back to the 24. At the 30. The 40 and pulled down from behind at the 43-yard line by Donaldson, and it's a good thing.
McLemore must be one of those guys, Brookie, that just can see the entire field. He always makes the first guy miss him. He's got great vision.
Don't forget, next week on CBS Sports, a big NFL doubleheader. It all starts with the NFL Today at 12:30 Eastern Time, 9:30 Pacific Time. For the first game, most of you will see Atlanta and Pittsburgh. And you Steeler fans in Pittsburgh, don't forget, get there early. The kickoff has been moved up to 1 o'clock instead of 4 o'clock. Those of you in Florida will see Tampa Bay and Kansas City, and those of you in Indianapolis will see the Vikings and the Bears. The second game, by the way, you'll see the Redskins and the Giants on CBS. Wendell Tyler advancing as the flag is dropped. Gene Barth holding his call for the second time on the 49er offense.
51 offense, holding. It'll still be first down.
Randy Cross, the all-pro right guard. Now, with the rules the way they are, you see the offensive linemen look at one another like, was that holding? We did that every other time, and nobody called it.
Here's Tyler's Cross 51 out in front. See if we can see what it is. Yeah, he has his arms outside and around and has a hold on a jersey right there.
But Wendell, the spindle, was off and running, averaging over 5 yards a carry. Here he comes again. Tyler at the 40. Quickly to the 47. A much stronger runner than people think, and the offensive lineman at San Francisco can't talk enough about him. Bo Easton at safety getting a head-on shot at number 26.
Wendell said he put on about 10 pounds in the offseason and built up his strength, and looks like it. He's running a lot tougher than he has in the past.
Tyler, a 5.7 average, 637 yards rushing coming in. He's already gotten 45. You saw that the seconds are ticking away in the first quarter, and it's been all red, all San Francisco. Second down 3 on the 47. Toss. Tyler. First down. Oh, flags are flying again. Big tackle by number 59, Grimsley. Good, solid shot. That's 3.
So just on a sweep, an outside play that Tyler turned back up.
Bill Walsh was rather adamant a couple of...
Offense, holding. Still be second down after the penalty.
Bubba Paris was detected. He was rather adamant, though, a few weeks ago about perhaps the officials controlling the game and changing it rather than just monitoring it.
Yeah, I think that especially in the last couple of minutes of ball games. It's interesting what Keith Fahnhorst told us, too, a couple of weeks ago, that 49ers don't make a big deal about penalties, you know. Nobody gets on you too much when you get one.
Not when you're 6-1, that's for sure. Second down at 13. The ball's on the 37. Straight drop. 3-step. Montana going and missing. Nehemiah intercepted at the 35-yard line by Steve Brown. Reversing his field. Brown gets inside the San Francisco 40. Tackled by Earl Cooper.
it here. Montana going for Ronaldo Nehemiah. 24 is Steve Brown. Want to get him on a deep post pattern right here. Watch 21 Easton come over and pick off Nehemiah right here. Boy, he got a shot. And Brown reverses his field and picks up some pretty good yardage.
Second-year man out of Oregon. First interception of the year for Steve. Good run. Now, this is the way that a team like Houston can get back in it. There's Steve, number 24. Nehemiah has tremendous speed, but Brown is there. First and 10. Moon, the quarterback. 22 seconds left in the first. Play action. Moon, across the middle. Smith catches it inside. The 20 to the 15. Good throw.
Great throw. Ronnie Lawton, not too bad a shape on that. And Moon put it right where Smith could use his body and keep his body between the ball and Ronnie Lawton. Here's a guy we told you 83 catches last year, matched his number. You know, they think he's a kind of a Biletnikoff guy, not going to get deep too often, but look at that throw and that catch.
He just beat Ronnie Lott on the last play of the first quarter. It's 10-0, but the Oilers suddenly have something to cheer about. Well, that Smith's a good receiver, and Warren Moon shows me a lot. We'll be back in just a moment.
Imported for Dodge and Plymouth and built by Mitsubishi in Japan. Sears, where you'll find great values. There's more for your life at Sears. And by Team Xerox, the right products and right people all working together.
Tom Brookshire and Wayne Walker at the Astrodome in Houston. It's 49ers 10-0 over Houston after a quarter. But Moon is 4 of 6 for 51. And they got it deep into San Francisco territory at the 14. There's that. Russell comes to the outside in motion. Moon screening to the left side. Moriarty at the 50. Moriarty pretty close. Let's see. Out at the 1-yard line. Moriarty, the Notre Dame fullback, who is starting in place of Earl Campbell.
Boy, a good-looking screen. Moon held it extremely well. The longer you hold it, the better it is in most instances. Moriarty out now with Munchak in front of him, 63. Matthews, the center, 74, and that's just a great hit right there by Eric Wright to get Moriarty out of bounds before he's in the end zone.
Remember, Moriarty told us he was, what, 170 pounds in high school?
Yeah.
Where? Northern California.
Santa Barbara, right? Down by North L.A.
Now he's 240. First and goal from the 1. Moriarty. Moriarty, touchdown. The first rushing touchdown for number 30, and he may keep that ball and put it on the shelf. Second year, Notre Dame for 1 year. Junior college for a year.
Yeah, and how about the pressure on this young man, number 30? Just his second year in the league, and he replaced the legend down here. You know, probably the best player that this organization ever had, Earl Campbell, was traded to New Orleans before the Miami game last week, and Moriarty's got the last 2 starts.
Had 66 yards against Miami. He carried that screen down there pretty close well, too. Kemp's extra point is good. The crowd, which is almost 50,000, which is maximum, cheers a lot. It's 10-7 San Francisco. You're looking at Mr. Touchdown. At one time, he was Mr. Teenage California, wasn't he? He got into lifting programs out there and went from, what, 170 to 240?
Well, the interesting thing he told us in our meeting with him on Saturday was that he used to hang around the 49er training camp when they trained in Santa Barbara, hoping Charlie Kruger would take him to lunch, because Charlie Kruger took 2 guys to lunch every day, kids that were hanging around. I didn't want to tell him that I was Charlie Kruger's age.
That's right. You played 15 years, and Charlie played a dozen, didn't he?
Oh, I think he played a good 15, too, Berkey.
Kemp kicking off now, as the Oilers have newfound optimism. Young people are like that. Harmon at the goal line. Harmon to the 23-yard line. Good coverage by the Oilers. And that's been one of their problems on special teams, but they did a good job covering this kickoff. And as boys will be boys, there's a fracas breaking out somewhere around the 27, but it's quickly broken up. 8 turnovers. Least in the NFL. They were a +5 on giveaway takeaways, which is the reason that they're cruising, thinking about Palo Alto perhaps in January.
And Houston was, what, a -1 in the giveaway takeaway thing. And there's a difference of 6, and there's a difference in 6 wins in their schedule.
6 and 6. First and 10 on the 25. Montana, inside handoff, timely. Good defensive stuff that time. Abraham met it right in the hole, and Tyler may have gotten a couple, and maybe a headache.
Well, Robert Abraham, a great play. He's leading his team in tackles. He's been in on 84 of them. Watch him make the sock here, and he has a problem out there. He cramps up during the courses of ball games. 56 right there would have hit. They have to keep monitoring him on the sideline when the offense is in there and giving him pills for potassium pills and keep fluid in him, or he has a major problem towards the end of ball games. He's a good player.
Leading tackler. Now it's 2nd down and 7, and this is not the kind of situation that Montana likes. Craig tries to pick up some of it, maybe gets 3. Short of the first down, and will bring up a 3rd down situation. And suddenly the 49ers now have to do something with the ball and maybe get some points.
And here's that situation that all the defensive coaches now are saying Brookie is the toughest defensive down to, well, really defense and to figure out what they're going to do. It's the third and 2 kind of situation. They're calling this in 3rd and 1, but it's a little bit more than your basic yard out there now.
49ers are a 44% team on 3rd down. 3rd down and 1. This guy's like a second story man. I would trust him not. He's going to get it. The toss to the weak side. Tyler pulled out from behind. A great defensive play by Bob Ham.
Ham made a good play, and the safety was up there immediately too. And there you see it.
Good block by Craig, but Hamke slipped in behind it. Here is Runninger's first punt for San Francisco, a low one. This might be run back. Carl Roaches at the 15. Roaches nailed at the 21. But Houston suddenly back in the football game. They are 0-7. Once in a while, teams that are 0-7 come out and suddenly they say, my gosh, we can win this thing. It's 10-7. Hugh Campbell. In January, he was made coach by Bud Adams, and I had to give Mr. Adams a lot of credit. He was a USFL coach in Los Angeles, and to bring the young man in, I thought took a lot of nerve. I think he's a good coach, and Adams should be congratulated on. They got a good young team. 1st and 10 on the 22. Warren Moon, Moriarty. Maybe a couple. That defense for San Francisco is so quick. The offensive line is so big.
And so young. Take a look at this right here and those draft choices. 3 first-round draft choices in that. They're going to move Matthews over to right guard here shortly because they just picked up Jim Romano from the Oakland Raiders, who was a number 2 draft choice. So Campbell said if we can get the impact people now to go with these guys who are going to be around perhaps for the next 10 or 12 years, we're going to be solid. That's their foundation right there that you're looking at. You see why they were all drafted high.
And Steinkuhler, the big All-American, is the smallest one at about 280 of the whole group.
Right.
The rest of them are like condominium units. Action. Pass action. Warren Moon with a lot of time. Finds the receiver at the 42. A great catch by Herky Walls. What a catch by number 82, and a good throw by Warren.
I was just going to talk about the throw. That ball got there so quickly when he set up and delivered. Watch this right here. Going to Walls all the way across the middle, and I'll tell you, he zinged it. Walls made an adjustment and made a good catch down there.
Threw it right over Danny Buns. He had to see the linebacker and just arched it right over him. What a throw by Warren Moon. He won 5 Grey Cups for Hugh Campbell in Canada. Now, this field's a little bit more narrow, and he's got to get used to that. He's a good player. 1st and 10 on the 43 for Houston. Wrestles in motion, settles into block. Across the middle. At the 45-yard line, Williams takes it to the 41, and boy, the Oilers are rolling.
Jamie Williams is a great story right there. He was a number 3 draft choice in 1983 by the New York Giants. He was cut. The Cardinals picked him up. They had to cut him, but Jim Hanifin, the Cardinal coach, told him, Jamie, don't quit. You can play in this league. He said, I have to cut you right now because it's a number situation. I need some help in another position, but don't quit. You can play. He went to Tampa Bay, didn't even really get a tryout there, and came here and he started.
And he is the Moose. A young McCluskey behind him is a 240-pounder, but they are all young and they're learning. Hey, they're learning as they make successful things work. 82 on the reverse, Herky Walls. Didn't fool anybody in that San Francisco defense.
You very seldom can work that kind of trick play, the reverse or bootleg against the 49ers, because of their quickness and the fact that they're really sound fundamentally. They always have a couple people staying at home and in the right location.
They might have thought being man-to-man that Lott might have chased out of there and there would be an opening there, but actually the play loses a yard. And Bill Walsh knows that people run their little receivers over in Lott's area very often. They might be getting taped up.
It's the kind of game right now it's turning into that Bill Walsh was concerned about. He said if you give a team like this any indication that they can stay in the ball game with you, it makes for a long afternoon.
Moon came in at 50%. Got only 4 interceptions. Keep that in mind on 0-17. That's incredible. Second down and color 11 from the 41. Moon on the out pattern. Herky Walls tries to catch it. Let's see if he holds on or not.
I don't think so. I think
Eric Wright drilled him, didn't he?
Brought him off it. One of the best one-on-one cover men you'll find in the league right there, 21 Eric Wright.
Hurt a little bit as the breath was perhaps knocked out of him. Herky Walls must have jumped up 12 feet in the air.
It's a little guy right here. Now, Walls is not all that big. He's only about 5'8", but he can run about a 9-300 for you. Watch Eric Wright close now while this ball's in the air. Make the contact right there, bring him off it. Down they go, and they both took a pretty good thump.
Great defensive play, and as you said earlier, Eric made a big tackle on Moriarty to keep him out of the end zone and screen. Moon, with good pass protection, threads the needle at the 30-yard line. It's Roach. What a pass.
This guy's got an arm. That's a big arm.
And a quick release.
He said it's easier to throw these sideline patterns because the field is 12 yards narrower than it is in Canada. So he said it's really great to throw these kinds of sideline patterns. It's so much shorter than I had to throw them in Canada. He said I used to have to roll out a lot in Canada to the side I was throwing to. But I can be more of a drop-back pocket passer here.
Fuller was pretty close. That was a great throw because he had good coverage on him. Moon is now 8 of 11 for 110 yards. Only down by 3. The Oilers moving into San Francisco territory. First and 10, handoff to Moriarty. The single back gets outside, and Buds forces him out at the 25. He might not be able to arm tackle him.
No, he's not. Look at the thighs on him. We told you he weighed 170 pounds as a high school senior. 2 years later, when he went to Notre Dame, he was 240 pounds. I said, what'd you do? He said, nothing. I just matured. I said, I didn't shave until I was 21. Just a late mature.
That's a lot of beef and potatoes.
He was a 170-pound nose tackle in high school. Didn't even play running back till he was in junior college.
Quite a success story if he could replace Earl Campbell in the minds of the people. Second down and 5 on the 24. Quick drop by Moon. Outside. 82 is Herky Walls. Eric Wright was back in there and had to give him a little room because of the speed.
Well, Warren Moon's doing a pretty good job of looking people off, too. You know, Hugh Campbell said even though Warren's played a long time up in Canada, he hasn't seen any of these NFL defenses. He's not familiar with their personnel, so he has to do a double study. It's not like this is the 3rd or 4th time he's played against the 49ers. This is the very first time that he's seen them. And he said that set him back a little. He's a little bit probably just a little bit more than a rookie. He's not a raw rookie, maybe just a little bit more than a rookie. No, he's a good one.
Remember, he took Michigan apart and was the MVP of the Rose Bowl for Washington, and then he went north, and we sort of lost him for some reason for 6 seasons, but he's back.
He signed up there actually before the NFL draft.
Mr. Barth, the official.
Still put 3 seconds back on the clock, please. Should be 9:14.
Well, he said please.
Yeah, 3 seconds. I didn't have any idea we were that accurate in this league. There you can see the clock on the side of this indoor structure. 65 is when this baby came into view. The first one in the world for indoor sports. $31 million. Sounded like a lot of money then. Quite an investment now. First and 10 on the San Francisco 18. Who's driving the car? Dressel in motion. Screen out to Dressel, and it's spiked by Moriarty, who said, wait a minute, that was mine.
Dressel was all set up out there and would have had Moriarty in front of him to block for him. Moriarty thought it was directed to him, and we talked about young mistakes, a young team. That's what happens.
But interesting mistakes they've been making. They really aren't a bad penalty-prone team for a young team.
They move the ball pretty well, you know, 20 to 20. Their problems have been once they get in this area right here, the red zone as they call it, inside the 20.
And they've had some atrocious calls against them. Of course, when you're 0-7, they all seem to be against you. It's 2nd down and 10. And now you begin to bind a little bit. That San Francisco defense to squeeze a little bit. The blitz is on. Moon runs out. The flags are down. Moon on the run. Has the tight end at the 5-yard line, Jamie Williams, but Williams is really rocked. Lee, that was Ronnie Lott.
Yes, it's going to be holding against the Oilers, too. That was a preliminary call as they put the heat on Warren Moon with the blitz, and he rolled out right.
Ronnie Lott is still down on the San Francisco 5. Again, that is almost straight cement underneath a small carpet. That's hard.
Tackle, 10-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Offensive tackle.
I think that's the way they should give the calls.
Anonymously.
Yeah. Here it is right here. Watch the 49ers coming with the blitz. Moon gets out of trouble, out of containment, and let's see what happened to Ronnie Lott. Pretty risky throw right here. They're in pretty good shape. It was just that Lott made the big hit there on Jamie Williams.
But on target, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's 10-7, San Francisco. The All-Pro Ronnie Lott walking off under his own power. He's had a foot problem. He's had a little knee problem from that Detroit game. He hit so hard he's going to hurt himself.
That's right. He's going to have a hard time getting healthy because he delivers when he's out there.
Jeff Fuller will come in and play the corner. You know, Mario Clark also has enough of an injury where he will not be brought in right away. But they're still plenty good, and it's 2nd down and 20 now on the 28. Moon obviously going to pass it. Going outside. McLemore cutting off and getting the foul. Trying to cover Herky Walls. McLemore diving, and the flag is on him.
Well, although Dana McLemore has done a good job when he has come into the ball game for the 49ers in past weeks when people have been hurt, it's pretty smart to go after him.
43 defensive interference. 1st down.
And it was on Dana McLemore. You figure a guy hasn't had when he comes in for an injured player, hasn't had a good chance to warm up. He's not as loose as he normally be, nor is he within the flow of the game. And that's where they go right here. And this guy's amazing me with his arm. That's a long throw right there. It's a deep out pattern. And you see McLemore on the receiver much before the ball was there.
And you know, that thing was on target again. He had a chance to catch that if he hadn't been interfered with. 1st and 10 now. From the 11-yard line. Moon rolling left, being chased. And somehow avoids it, gets to the 10-yard line where he's hit very hard by Dwight Hicks. He averaged 5.2 yards rushing while he was in Canada. He can run.
Well, he's a big kid, too. Ricky, when I did that interview with him for the NFL Today before our telecast, I'm down there and looking up to him. Ricky Ellison on a blitz right here, coming full speed, and Moon just puts on an afterburner right there, as with Dwight Hicks.
Covered up pretty well, too. He's learning what this league is all about.
Didn't gain anything, but he didn't lose anything on it either, so it's 2nd and
9 from the 9. Excuse me, they were inside the 10, but Houston has the momentum. They got a touchdown, and now they're trying to go ahead in this football game. They trail 10-7. Moon back trying to screen. Now looking for his other options. Moon now is going to run with it. Line of scrimmage. The 10-yard line where Ricky Ellison buries the quarterback.
Good coverage that time by the secondary of the 49ers.
Ricky Ellison has turned out to be some voracious linebacker. He just looks like he wants to eat people up. He's got the LBIs, doesn't he?
He points for Sunday, I'll tell you what. He loves to play. Just got the word on Ronnie Lott that he has a slight concussion and probably will return to this ballgame.
Large play with 7:52 left to go before halftime and trailing by 3. Moon is in the shotgun on 3rd and 10 from the 10. Moon trying for and finding a receiver. McLemore battles the receiver for it.
May have intercepted it.
It's an interception by McLemore. Let's see who the receiver was. It might have been Herky Walls again.
Well, Dana McLemore, after they tested him once, came back and responded with an excellent play right here.
Takes a lot of nerve to go back-to-back and come back and make the INT on a tough play like that.
Well, Moon hasn't thrown many interceptions, but Dana McLemore made a good play. That's number 5 for Moon.
The 49ers hold. There's 7:37 left before half. It's 10-7. Dana McLemore's first interception. We have 9 different 49ers that have made 12 interceptions. Boy, that is squad strength. Montana from inside the 5 goes for play action. Going all the way for it. Trying for number 83, Nehemiah, who once ran the 50-yard hurdles in 5.8. That's a good 50 without the hurdles.
Willie Tullis, pretty nice job staying with him, too, deep downfield. Play action right here. Montana looking for Nehemiah all the way. I bet you Joe would never guess that he could overthrow Nehemiah, but he did, and took a lump.
You asked Joe about how strong his arm was yesterday when he was talking, and he gets that very nice quarterback grin on his face. What did he say?
Well, he just knows that he can't throw it down there with Dan Marino, but he can throw the other stuff with anybody.
I'd say he can. Here's Wendell Tyler, who has been stopped a little bit after having great success in that first quarter. Out over to the 7-yard line. Other scores, St. Louis rallying to beat the Redskins 26-24.
Biggest win for them in years right there.
Oh, I'd say. Philadelphia 24-10 over the Giants. And the opening loss that Philadelphia had at New York hurt Marion Campbell's program probably as much as any. Detroit coming all the way back from a 14-0 deficit and winning 16-14. Good football, huh? Seattle 30, Green Bay 24. Less than a touchdown decision. Well, that's good football. All starts with the NFL Today with us. This is CBS. Third down and 4 from the 9. Montana, first down. Mike Wilson at the 22-yard line. He's a lot bigger than he looks. Wilson looks like he's probably 6 foot tall, but he's larger and has a good-sized back.
About the same size as Dwight Clark, and that's about 6'4", about 215 pounds, and he got banged pretty hard there as he caught that one by Jeff Donaldson.
Montana not afraid to throw from the end zone or from anywhere. Other scores, Denver 37-7. Broncos roll on.
I saw Denver in the preseason, and I didn't think they'd be anywhere near what they are.
Reeves told me he had doubts about it too last week. First and 10. Handoff to Wendell Tyler. The slow developing play. The Oilers are right there at the 27. Abraham again. Russ Francis being talked to over there. I tell you, this is a young physical team, and as the people that have left the game with the Oilers have said this year, that physically this young team beats on you and it hurts you for your next part of the schedule. Look at that bunch. Go with 4 down linemen perhaps. Second down and 7 at the 26. Solomon now in. The reverse play now. Earl Cooper, the motion man coming up. Good reaction by the Houston defense, and he's short of the first down. Joyner chased him down from behind, number 57.
So Solomon in there too for the first time since he pulled that hamstring, trying to get a block here for Earl Cooper. Here comes Ayers, 68. Cooper is 89. It looks pretty good, but good hustle by the white shirts.
Earl says he has a lot of friends and family and all here. He played at Rice right here in Houston, and of course he was drafted as a running back, but he is almost the prototype for a motion for an H-back. Talking about number 89. It's third down and less than a yard. Tyler just did get it. Not much room in there. Stensrud plugging it up. 4:26. Almost 4.5 minutes. But it's running toward halftime. I think San Francisco might be breathing a little bit easier after that INT by McLemore.
I think so too, no question about it. Now what they'll want to do is just use up that 4 minutes and do it the way they started this ball game, on the ground basically.
Trouble is that they don't score in the third period. They only have 6 points scored. San Francisco does in the third period of play. 2 field goals. Straight handoff. Wendell Tyler out over the 40 to the 43. A straight pop play.
Yeah, it's kind of almost seems like a short delay. It's almost like that draw trap or draw lead. They've really been running extremely well with him, with Tyler.
Scores from elsewhere around the NFL. Miami just having trouble every week, aren't they? 44-24.
The last time I looked, Marino already had 2 touchdown passes in that one. I think it was in the first half.
Great release. Cleveland losing to Cincinnati 12-9. Those teams having their problems. But this is only halfway, folks. Craig stopped at the line of scrimmage. Maybe got a half a foot, but not enough for the first. He needed a full yard.
Yeah, Jesse Baker stuffed it up, number 75.
Remember, they are very large along the line of scrimmage, and as Quillen told us, you got to do things to finesse them. You can't just take them on and try to move them off the line of scrimmage. Behemoths. Third down and less than a yard. And they haven't lost their pizzazz. Their practice field had a lot of, laughing and some good concentration, but they look like a team that maybe had won 7. Third down conversion numbers. Montana takes it himself and keeps it. Remember, San Francisco with only 2 field goals after halftime. What would explain that, Wayne?
I don't know. That's just one of those stats where a guy that has 100 RBIs, one year he hits 200 with people on base the next. I always feel that's last week's stat, that it really doesn't mean anything this week.
Joe Montana. Drafted and played second team behind DeBerg for a while, but Bill Walsh knew all along that was the quarterback, the Notre Dame man. Monroe and Craig in there. Solomon in motion. Out in the front, Craig. Craig just into Houston territory to the 49, gets out of bounds, stops the clock, and I'll tell you, don't think that San Francisco isn't a clever bunch of football players.
That's a smart play, Brookie. That's just a long handoff in their scheme of things. Montana says take the 5 and 6 yards, and then second down always looks better to you, and it does now.
Everybody now has blue on because the team has come to play one of the best teams in football, and they've played them straight up dead even. It's 10-7. They still trail by 3, but Moon and company have moved the football, and I sense a pretty happy feeling about this young team, and I don't believe people are as impatient as a lot of people would lead you to believe. 1:54 left before halftime. Second down and 4 on the Houston 49. Montana, quick drive. Knocked away from John Frank that was in there. Grimsley made a real good play. We're told that Russ Francis has been taken to the dressing room.
And probably will not return. There was a neck injury up around the neck and shoulder area. So rookie John Frank and Earl Cooper, 2 tight ends now remaining for the Niners.
Halfway. You don't say half a season for San Francisco because they believe they're going to be at least 2 playoff games, maybe 3, but they know of at least a couple before they go to Palo Alto. Montana, straight drop. Across the middle to a hooking White Clark at the 40-yard line. Number 87 now has caught a ball in 64 consecutive football games.
They have special chemistry, those 2.
Montana barking out the signals as the Oilers hurry. 1:28 on the clock. Montana, drop. Quick, and outside to Cooper. Cooper inside the 40.
Good job by Avon Riley. He locked him up like a big octopus out there in the flat. That's a tough job.
They got some tough-looking linebackers. I saw Brazil, and he might be one of the physical specimens of all time.
I thought so, too.
And Avon Riley thinks he's just about as tough, and he's younger. It's 10-7 San Francisco.
Wish it were.
The Derrick Dolls are whooping it up as their team, young and handsome, as they are beautiful, play San Francisco to a standstill in this first half. You know, when Bum Phillips was here, they lost to Pittsburgh in '79 and came back here, and 70,000 plus came in here just to welcome them home, even though they lost a game. Pretty good football town.
There it is.
Second down, 8. On the 38. Humble.
Trouble with the snap. Yeah, just got out a little early on the snap. You know, I was interested. Bum's always got some great quotes, you know, when he said, I like what he said about Earl Campbell. He said, Earl Campbell's not in a class by himself, but it doesn't take long to call the roll.
107 and ticking. Montana quickly back to the attack. Craig in the flat to about the 31. Then run clear out of bounds by Bostic. Big safety man, a 210-pounder. Boy, Craig catches the ball so well. His total yardage is almost as much as Tyler's. He's only about 120 yards behind Wendell's. He catches them, Wendell runs them.
Well, Bill Walsh thinks he's the best pass receiver for a pure running back in the National Football League. Now, I'm not a guy that comes in as a specialization on third down just to catch the ball, but a guy who stays in there and plays every down. And they didn't know that for sure when they drafted him because, as I said, he played at Nebraska and played tailback there for a while. Then they moved him up, and he blocked for guys like Travis Redwine and Mike Rozier. So they didn't know a whole lot about his pass-catching ability, but they found out immediately when he got to camp.
They're looking at a team on 4th and inches that's going to go for it. That's why they rolled off all those wins, right? Take it and keep it. Less than a minute before half. Montana, right behind Fred Quillen. His offensive linemen are an intelligent group, aren't they, for the 49ers? Paris all the way across. You talk to them.
Timeout for San Francisco.
Second one is burned. Bill Walsh's team trying to get some points just before halftime. They only lead by 3. Mike Wilson, the young receiver from Washington State, he's got that right knee wrapped up with some ice on it, going in to perhaps return to action, but I have a feeling he might not have to come back if points are available. Wilson had 3 catches. It's 10-7, and Montana has 51 seconds. First and 10, throw out in the flat. The flags are down. Roger Craig makes the catch inside the 25-yard line of Houston.
Well, that play is just absolutely becoming a staple of the San Francisco offense, where Craig checks for a blitz or immediately heads for the flat, and if Montana can't find anything downfield, he gets it to him.
Illegal procedure. It looked like somebody shifted up and put too many people on the line of scrimmage.
An illegal formation on the offense. Number 88 moved up on the line of scrimmage and outflanked the end. That's illegal. Still first down.
It's a good idea, but it is illegal. That is the 5th penalty for San Francisco in the first half.
Well, that was Freddie Solomon. Now, he can be outside the end, but the end's got to drop back.
First down and 15 with 43 seconds left. Montana, a lot of time. Sidearms one out in the flat to Craig, who stays on his feet to the 26-yard line. Bostic barely got him out of bounds. Don't forget at halftime, Brent and Irv have the highlights from the studio back in New York with the NFL Today. We'll have all of those plays.
There'll be a lot of comeback stories, too, because the teams that were out in front early didn't win most of today's ball games.
Donahue, the field goal kicker for St. Louis, probably saved his life by kicking the field goal to beat
If he missed one field goal and missed an extra point, they had the lynch mob out, but he redeemed himself.
Hannafin would have had the rope in his hand. Great football here on CBS. Don't forget all those scores at half. 37 seconds left. Craig's in motion. Montana back. Crew out in the flat. That's Tyler. He's got a blocker downfield. Tyler inside the 20. Look out. Once he got to the 20-yard line, it was over.
Didn't look like it was going to be all that good. I'll tell you, Wendell Tyler showed the spurt that he gets once he gets in the open.
Second touchdown reception. Well, the man that Dick Vermeil said helped him win the Rose Bowl when they beat Ohio State at UCLA.
Well, you know, people maintain that if John Robinson had to do it all over again, as you watch Wendell Tyler score this touchdown for the 49ers and get a block right there from John Ayers, it's a screen. is that John Robinson wouldn't trade Wendell Tyler to the 49ers. They feel that Bill Walsh kind of took advantage of a rookie coach at the time, and if Robinson had to do it over again, he traded somewhere else.
Well, Robinson's very pragmatic. That's quite a statement. Wersching's extra point is good. And as we said, with just a few seconds, or at least a couple of minutes on the clock, the 49ers are still dangerous. Well, what was a close game suddenly with an interception at one end, you go down and get a touch at the other.
Right, as you keep looking at Wendell now, the reason that John Robinson traded him is, of course, because he got Eric Dickerson, and he runs a one-back offense and didn't want a guy like Wendell Tyler, sitting around on the bench behind him. So instead of moving him to somewhere like Tampa Bay or another division, trade him to San Francisco. And as I said, they don't think he'd do that again.
Don't forget, next Sunday, the CBS doubleheader day. It all starts with Brent and Irv and everybody, Jimmy the Greek and Phyllis back with the NFL Today. Then Atlanta versus Pittsburgh. And don't forget, you Pittsburgh fans, get there early. Don't miss the ball game. It's been moved up to 1 o'clock instead of 4 o'clock. So you Pittsburgh fans, get there at 1. Don't wait till 4. Those of you in Florida will see Tampa Bay at Kansas City. Indianapolis, victorious today. The Colts you'll see the Vikings against the Bears. In the second game, most of you will see the 49ers and the Rams, or you'll see the Redskins take on the New York Giants. A big doubleheader day as we go by the halfway part of the season. Rams game will loom rather large for next week, but the 49ers are not thinking about Anaheim, not right now. Wersching kicking off. Ooh, this is a deep kick. The ball doesn't carry that well inside the dome either. This is 8 yards deep in the end zone. And Herky Walls touches it down.
Wersching, like any other kicker, loves to kick indoors. No elements to battle. You're always on artificial turf. The ball's sitting up pretty good for you. Just makes you feel like you can kick it further when you're in Zurich.
Before Walsh signed him, though, he'd gone to be a CPA, hadn't he? He was going through people's books and things and decided to retire from football after his San Diego experience.
Well, it seems like kickers are the vagabonds of the National Football League. They're almost like baseball managers. They pop up anywhere.
He's pretty good. I hope he works on my books. I may give him my foreign last year. Offsides perhaps on San Francisco as Moon dumps it out to Moriarty. And number 30 gets over the 25, but the flag was down very early. Let's see if this has taken a lot of steam out of a young football club. Let's see if Houston suddenly says, uh-oh, we're down suddenly by 10. Were you ever on a young team, Wayne?
No, I really wasn't.
Detroit was always a rather veteran group.
Yeah, there were a lot of grizzled guys when I first got there. The Bobby Lanes and Nutt group.
Defense 97 offside, penalty refused, second down.
Big Hands Johnson offsides. You can follow that.
Boy, he likes it here too. Big Hands Johnson likes playing with the 49ers.
Hear what he said about the way they travel, the DC-10s, instead of those. He thought they looked like fighter planes they were flying in San Diego. Those big guys can't get in those little seats.
No, he doesn't fit in a normal seat.
Treat them like people, he said. Moon back on second down, dumps it to Moriarty, has a first down to the 35. Keena Turner getting his first call of the day. 14 seconds left before half. He can just about do it all. There's the guy that can play for the next 8 or 10 years. Keena Turner.
All over the field, and he does it, week after week. He's one of the few players in the league that can stay in and play every down now in this era of specialization. And I really think that playing the pass, closing on the ball while it's in the air, he does that better than any linebacker in the league.
And the new baby now is probably getting nights and days together, so he's probably getting a little bit of sleep at home, huh? Keena Turner, just born early in the season to a great linebacker. Don't forget, next Saturday on CBS Sports, college football. Many of you will see the 8th-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes with that fellow we talked about, the Heisman and Maxwell candidate Keith Byers. May end up in a Houston uniform. They'll take on Wisconsin in the Big Ten action. And those of you out west will see Arizona State play host to the Pac-10 rival UCLA. Next Saturday, 12 o'clock Eastern Time, 11 o'clock Central, and 3 o'clock Pacific, right here on CBS Sports.
Mike White, the Illinois coach, saw Byers at close-up last week. Of course, he coached Chuck Muncie when he was at Cal, and he said Byers is in that class.
Really is, huh? He's the big single back, but Moriarty seems to be fitting the bill right now for this team. He hasn't had many carries in his career, and he's learning more every day. Moon back with 12 seconds left. No pressure, and time hits his intended receiver Herky Walls, who knew he was going to take a shot at the San Francisco 34. They get to 36.
He's got it marked there. What are they going to call it? Now they're going to go back.
No pressure on Moon. You expect to be a prevent defense that time by San Francisco.
Here it is. Plenty of time. He can plant and really throw it, and does. Gets it in pretty good shape. Eric Kreitz, number 21. 43 is McLemore, and it's right there again just as the ball arrives, making the defensive play. It's a good one.
Moon's velocity is so good, he actually is fooling the 49ers secondary by getting the ball there a little quicker than they expect.
I think they just have to think back to a couple weeks ago and think about how hard Bartkowski could throw it and get it in there and play this guy the same way, because this guy's got a gun also.
The coach here, Hugh Campbell, was a pretty good receiver, wasn't he?
Washington State he was, and then up in Canada, I guess he led the CFL a couple of years. Nice man. Just real calm and controlled, and I think that's the way he has to be with a good team. He said, my main problem here is going to be continuity, and these guys that have been here before, they haven't had any continuity. I've got to give that to them. He said they've had 3 head coaches in 2 years. They've had 4 quarterbacks in the last 20 games. So he said, we just got to start out and get basic and be consistent, get some continuity, and build on that.
Interesting how he and Moon knew the system they'd like to put in, but they didn't do that. They put in the system the players would be able to use that he and Moon have had to make the adjustment. And well said, he is a bright young coach. He doesn't seem to be so intense that he can't enjoy victory or appreciate defeat. 5 seconds left. A 17-7 San Francisco lead now. And they are prevent. They are stretching all the way back to the San Francisco 35. Moon being chased, gets away. Smart player. Now he's going to run with it. Has a convoy to the 40, and is tackled at the 40-yard line and ran like a halfback.
He was wanting it all. He knew that if he got out of bounds, half would be over. Well, he was trying to get it all.
And the Love You Blue flags come up here at the Astrodome. A 25-yard scamper by the Canadian quarterback. He's a good one. San Francisco 17, Houston 7 at half.
Took it down 97 yards without letting go of it. And that's really right now is turn this thing around a little bit.
And the San Francisco offense, while not running over the top of the Oilers because they're young and strong, they are finessing them and got pretty good numbers going.
Well, look at the 37 yards rushing by Houston right there, and 25 of them came on Warren Moon's run right there at the end. Passing, they're hanging in there pretty good, but that time of possession is the difference, and the 8 minutes or so difference right there is that one drive that the 49ers went on.
And it shows that the turnover, the one that Houston did get, the interception, only the 3rd one of the year off Montana, turned into sort of their impetus for that first half too. If they could get more on defense as a young team, they probably could get some pressure off the outside.
Well, you know what? That's really the only way they're going to get back in this ballgame or have a chance of winning it. I'm talking about Houston right now, is if they get a turnover, they get a fumble and running in for a touchdown or an interception or block a kick or something like that, because straight up, matching against the 49ers right now, they're not going to get it done.
And, of course, if San Francisco holds on and maintains this momentum and ends up going 7-1 at halfway, that's a pretty good way to look for the second half of the season, especially with the Rams right down the road, huh?
No question.
All right, we'll be back. The second half is just about to start. It's dry. It's a fast track right here at the Astrodome.
Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. Pontiac. Cars built with a feel for the road. Pontiac. We build excitement. And by Commodore Computers. It's not how little you pay, but how much you get for the money.
He is talented. He is wealthy. He is successful. He's Joe Montana, the San Francisco 49er quarterback. Pretty good guy around town, huh?
Has a good time playing the game. I mean, really looks forward to Sundays and playing. Great competitor. He'll compete with you in anything.
The best numbers of any quarterback. And boy, today, when you look downfield and get a read and go outside, nobody does that as well as Joe Montana, hitting the backs. What we used to call safety valves are now in the game plan. Our score here, 17-7, a dramatic drive, culminating with Wendell Tyler dancing into the end zone. You see Wergy now pumping up for his kickoff. His last one went 8 yards deep in the end zone, and Carl Roaches, a very dangerous kickoff return man, awaits. He and Herky Walls. pulled down at the 20-yard line. Good play by number 52, Blanchard Montgomery.
Tom, what Houston has to do now, as we look at their head coach, Hugh Campbell, is just, not totally drop their game plan. We know that they really don't have the long ball and long strike capabilities to get it all back all at once, but they've got plenty of time if they can get a good march down and get 7 points on the board some way, and then there you are, you're in a ball game again.
We came in here today, the Oilers had given up the most points and had scored the least. And I'll tell you, statistically, that might be true, but this is a much better football team than I had been looking for, and I'm sure San Francisco feels that way. First down and 10 on the 21. Sort of a misdirection play that just barely gets to the line of scrimmage. Moriarty is tackled and flags are flying. Too many people to call on that tackle. Jack Riddle's getting there first, I believe. Early call by Barth is holding. Big Doug France, that used to be with the Rams, is on the injured list here.
Holding, 10-yard penalty to still be first down.
That's Schumacher, the big guard from USC. But Doug France told me that the new rules where the arms are extended for tackles and guards actually makes them susceptible to elbow and shoulder injuries more than before.
See Shoemaker, number 62, right there blocking on Dwayne Board. Turned around, got position, and had him grasped. That was the penalty.
A first and 20 facing Warren Moon. Dressel in motion. The draw play. Moriarty fumbles the football. Look out. Red shirts are flying for that loose football. It's around the 7-yard line.
Boy, somebody made a hit back there and stripped him.
49ers came up with the football.
Tuiasa Sopo or Pillars, I'm not sure who it was.
Pillars,
Lawrence Pillars, right.
This has not been a problem for Houston so far.
Watch Pillars, number 65 now. Here's the draw to Moriarty. He comes down, and that's Board. That's Board, number 76, that stripped the ball away.
He took the inside on that tackle and got away with it.
They had a stunt. They had a game going, and he came hard down inside, and they guessed right.
Those young offensive linemen could be fooled when people like Dwayne Board and Pillars, Tuiasa Sopo are working on him. First and 10 now from the 9. First and goal from the 9. Good defensive play on Wendell Tyler by Tullis. 34 players on the Houston team have less than 3 years experience. I don't know if I've ever seen numbers like that. Whereas on the opposite side, the San Francisco side, only 7 players remain that were there when Bill Walsh came in '79, too. It's Big Bob Ham on the ground. They're talking to him. It's 17-7 in the third quarter, early. Big Bob Ham is helped off. If he went up to the door, he wouldn't turn the doorknob. He would simply rip it out. He is a giant. 290, but he's okay. Just shake it up. Montana dumps it. John Frank, who, I bet he's happy to be getting some work today inside the 5-yard line. Wayne, during commercial, you said this could be a hole that Houston can't get out of. Suddenly that defensive team has come up with a turnover for the offense.
Well, that's true. John Frank right here just ran a slant out pattern from the tight end. Montana had it right there. I think that's only about his second reception of the season. He had 1 catch earlier for a touchdown for San Francisco. He had a good preseason. They like him a lot.
I was talking to Vic Linskog and some of these 49er scouts the other night, and I said, boy, there's a good-looking receiver in Colorado, a tight end. He said, we've already got 3 Class A tight ends now. Pretty deep team. In fact, one of the deepest talented teams I've seen. Third down and goal from the 3. Tyler gets rid of a tackle and gets right into the corner of the end zone. There's a flag down at the 3-yard line. However, near the tight end tackle combo.
They called a rookie, I think, John Frank, 86.
I don't care how you block them, huh? Wendell Tyler, boy, he's added so much to this team.
88 offense, holding.
88.
Freddie Solomon.
Freddie Solomon.
Nobody can do it like a veteran, right?
You know, one of the reasons that, you mentioned why they don't score a lot of points in the third quarter, or haven't scored a lot of points in the third quarter. They've had big halftime leads and have come out, after after the half, kind of sitting on the ball, being conservative and running it. That's why they haven't had a lot of points really in the third quarter. They've had huge leads in about 3 or 4 games.
The 6th penalty for 64 yards. Montana now on 3rd down and 13 in the flat to Cooper. Cooper to the 5. Good defense by Houston as Abraham, the big linebacker, came out, put it on 89.
Cooper, who went to school right here in Houston, Rice Institute.
Wershing comes in now for the extra point, the field goal attempt, so that the 49ers still have not scored a touchdown in 1984 in the third quarter. Not yet. Montana will hold this at the 12. 22-yard field goal attempt. He never looks up. Perfect snap, perfect hole, perfect kick. So the fumble turns over. There is a flag down on the 4-yard line. Now Wershing's going to go in and get into this.
There's been more of this call lately. Penalties on.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. 76 Houston. The point is good. We're penalized on the kickoff.
So on the kickoff, the penalty will be put against Houston as number 76 roughed somebody, and that's unsportsmanlike. The thought process is working, boy. The kicker's dream. Nobody can rush him. Can tee it up at the 35 and just drill it.
No wind.
No excuses. Boy, that's a tough situation. Kicker's life. Roaches and walls. Boy, this is a gigantic kick.
Or
that one was good, too.
He liked that one or not? See, that was about 10 yards out of the end zone.
Kicking is his life.
He'll take it.
I'm always surprised that somebody doesn't send somebody after the kicker. When you and I played, they used to go across the restraining line and drill your kicker sometimes.
So because the kickers used to come downfield and you'd have a defensive back or somebody basically that would be the safety. But now most of the time the kickers are the safety and they just they country club.
First and 10 from the 20. Houston trailing now 20-7. It has not been easy. 49ers are effective. Moon back, quickly throws, has the reception, breaks in a tackle to the 38-yard line as Jamie Williams to the... Now they're piling up like he might have lost.
He did lose
possession,
but they may have it back.
49ers are quick on defense and hard hitting. Just because you're smaller doesn't mean you can't load up and sock people. Dressel says it looks like Houston recovered their own fumble.
I think Timmy Smith came down and got on it after Jamie Williams lost it. Here it is right here. Jamie Williams, number 87, the tight end. Moon with plenty of time. You see a good line stunt going on by the 49ers in front, but Moon had good vision. Ellison went for it, as did Keena Turner. Now Carlton Williamson comes in and makes the hit, and there's the ball loose, but number 83, Tim Smith, will come right from the left of your screen right there and make the recovery.
Good call, Wayne, and a tremendous throw by Warren Moon because he knew he was going to get hit and he stayed right in there. I really like this young quarterback. Moon now on first down, new life, gets away, scrambles, now he's going deep, he's throwing a rocket. Number 82, Walls, has it intercepted at the 5-yard line. The flag is dropped, but Eric Wright came out with the ball. The crowd thinks this is going to be on number 21.
Well, I don't know whether he threw a flag down there, but he just might have been marking the spot with that flag. I don't think there's going to be a penalty on this.
Gene Barth is going down to make sure.
And then you don't know whether teams are changing. So I think it's going to be an interception. Yeah, it is.
That was a long throw, though. That ball carried very well. It was thrown sharply. Good defense.
Ball was intercepted, ruled down by contact. No penalty. The flag was thrown in air. He meant to throw a beanbag. First down.
He meant to throw a beanbag, but he threw his flag.
They
carried beanbags, too?
I played that once, but that was a long time ago.
Now watch Moon get out of trouble here. Florence Pillars with big pressure up the middle. And Moon rifles one out. A lot of times when this happens, when a quarterback escapes, the defensive back's in trouble. But Eric Wright was right there all the way with an extremely fast man. They called him down there because as he was down, Herky Walls would touched him, and it was dead at that point.
Eric Wright with his first interception of 84, and he told us the other day, he says, you want to talk about me tripping this week, I'm going to get the INT, and he got it. Montana rolling out. It's Tyler at the 10. Tyler's knocked out of bounds. That secondary that was drafted in that great draft year 4.5 years ago, Hicks, Lott, Williamson, and Wright, came in with 60 interceptions between the four of them.
Hicks was the veteran. Of course, all the three of them were rookies in that Super Bowl year. You know, just take a look at the year that like Eric Wright had last year. 7 interceptions led the 49ers. He was second in tackles. Lott led in tackles last year. And he had 30 more tackles, Lott did, at cornerback than anyone else on the team. Number 42 right there.
Eric Wright now has 12 interceptions and even dozen in his career at San Francisco, and it's just beginning. Wendell Tyler staying low and hiding, getting out to the 17-yard line. Bob Ham tripped him up. Giveaways and takeaways. Sometimes it's bigger than X's and O's.
Wendell Tyler with 70 yards already today, 14 carries. The 49ers have helped themselves in that category.
Tremendous interception ratio,
yeah.
And they've only given up 3 interceptions on the offensive side. Montana extremely frugal. First and 10 from the 16-yard line for San Francisco. Wendell Tyler, who's averaging 91 yards a game rushing this year, barrels out to the 25-yard line.
No, he's on dead aim at his best season ever. And you can credit Wendell, and you got to credit those guys up front, too. They do a fine job for him. Roger Craig does lead blocking. But he's a tough little runner. You see him take on a linebacker right there and do a number on Abraham. Number 56, knock him on his back.
You know what we like to do is mention when Ayers and Quillen and Cross and Paris and Connors, when they do good things, because these big guys work so hard, and sometimes all we see is the glory and not some of the real work. Fake play action pass and run now by Montana, and he is smothered. Ham was first, and then about 700 pounds later, Eason comes in.
Well, Eason from safety, I think that, you know, the rookie may have been fooled a little bit with play action and was up there a little bit closer to the line than he should have been. And when Montana started to go, Eason said, I'm halfway anyway. Let me get a good shot at him right here at 21.
Somebody in the crowd here at the Astrodome just yelled up at me and said, that's 2 for Brazil. We're certainly not in charge of attaching statistics, but we'll take your word for it, Mr. Fan. Sacked 12 times, the 3rd least in the NFL, and as we said, only 3 INTs. That is remarkable. The #1 passer in the NFC. Nehemiah and Clark. Inside handoff, though. The quick draw doesn't work. Quick play by Houston. Tyler maybe gets the line of scrimmage, and that's all. That's the one Quillen and company thought might work because they could make the big guys have to react too quickly. Look at that Brazil. What's he weigh? 240-something?
250-something, an outside linebacker. Dr. Doom, they've called him around here in Houston for years. He's been a great player. It was rumored that he may go to the Oakland Raiders, but the Raiders picked up Van Pelt instead.
Rudiger's punt is going to be taken by Carl Rocha. Roach is driven back to the 24. Good punt by Rudiger. Good return and knocked out of bounds. Good special play on both sides. And a fine punt by Max Rudiger. McCall quickly down under there. It's 20-7, and San Francisco's in overdrive. Joe Montana is on the phone. He's not talking to anybody in particular except the people upstairs that put the offense together. We'll see if they can counteract what was a good defensive series for the Oilers. Moon has the ball now on the 37. His own 37, 1st and 10. Smith starts and stops in motion. Stays in there. Now the reverse. This is Herky Walls. Herky Walls, the 9'2", 100-yard sprinter. Picks up about 5. Williamson making a very, very difficult tackle there. You know, this team, the Houston team, in 24 years has been in the playoffs, 8 years of the 24. And I know people don't want to hear about past, but I think this young guy is a very contemporary coach. I believe he's going to wear well here.
He knew what he was getting into when he came here, that it would be a while. And I think they know it around the community also.
45. The toss back to Moriarty, who hasn't had a chance to carry the ball much. Gets maybe a yard. Ellison tripping it up there.
So friend Ricky Ellison, pretty good hit that time. But he said that, you know, these young guys here, that the tough thing about them is, you know, playing hard, which they have been doing for him all season long, and then not winning because, you know, there's no reward for them, you know, on any week. He had the highest winning percentage in the history of the CFL when he was with Edmonton.
And that LA Express, they almost believe that. Beating Oldenburg is tough out there with that franchise. Here's the shotgun throw. Moon drills it at the 44-yard line. The Herky Walls, who claims he was interfered with, and there's a flag down. Did Fuller do it or not?
These are the touchiest calls in pro football, I think. These calls right here. You realize that, and we'll get it.
Defensive interference, number 49, first down.
Called it on Jeff Fuller. Said he was there early. As I was saying, you know, this is, you know, contact sport. It's a collision sport. You can call it all you want, and this is a lot of part of the game right here. You know, he had both of his hands coming over trying to get the ball. There might have been a little jostling with the body, but boy, they do more than that in the NBA.
Well, that's right. Under the boards, Fuller at 216, deceptively strong. Good player. First down on the interference call. Play action pass by Moon. Now he reloads it. Well, he can run. What an athlete. Now he's going to get out of bounds at the 47 and goes right into the 49er bench. Manu Tuiasosopo made sure.
Warren Moon said he wanted a challenge. That was one of the reasons that he chose to come here. He was wanted very much in Seattle, where, you know, he played up University of Washington. They wanted him there, but he said, I wanted a challenge. When I went to University of Washington, they were coming off a 2-7 season. Edmonton hadn't done much when I get up there, so I knew what I was getting into with a bunch of young guys. He said, but they are going to win, and we're going to win sooner or later.
As Bill Walsh said, I want to play them, get out of town, and hope they improve after we leave. Second down and 6 on the 48. Still in Houston territory. Comes the rush. Handled pretty well. Good throw by Moon on the outside. Herky Walls.
You know, when I had a chance to chat with him down there on the sideline before we did that interview before the game, and I asked him, you know, what's been the big difference for you, Warren, you know, from the CFL coming in here to the NFL? And he said, the players are so much quicker here that I have to make decisions faster down here than I did up there.
Well, he makes some good decisions. They're going to, the crowd, of course, is calling for 3rd and 1. I don't know what they were booing about. Maybe that the official didn't move it in front of the sticks. These people, the Zebras, they do quite a job. This is not an easy thing to officiate. 3rd and inches on the San Francisco 47. Moon. 9 inches. People are thinking sort of Miami once in a while against San Francisco in the Super Bowl. If they're thinking that matchup, it's rather interesting that San Francisco and Miami are going to have 4 common foes when the season's all over. Each team, Miami and San Francisco, will have played Pittsburgh, this Houston club, Washington, and Philadelphia. And a Miami-San Francisco matchup in Palo Alto, where this man was king and has always been, would be some kind of a Super Bowl, wouldn't it? 5:48 left in this 3rd period. Moon on first down. Oh, good throw. Good catch by Smith. There's a flag down. Timmy Smith is going to score, but let's see who the flag was on. Great throw by Warren Moon.
Interference, 22 defense.
Called it on Dwight Hicks, number 22, and I'll tell you, you just saw a great throw and a pretty fine catch by Timmy Smith. But Moon pumped that ball in there. That was on a wire. That was the best ball he's thrown all day, and he had some velocity on that one. Watch it here. Slant in pattern over the middle off play action. Ball is on the money and in there. He caught it right in stride. Broke away as there was a stumble by a couple defensive players, and Smith's in the end zone.
The second touchdown catch for Timmy Smith, who had 8 a year ago. This is Florian Kemp's extra point. 45-yard touchdown strike. Interference decline. Moon to Smith. 20-14. Touchdown pass number 6 for Warren Moon. He's talking to people upstairs. Glanville and the people, probably Kay Dalton, who was to our right up here. And as you can see, they got the blue out. I'll tell you, in a couple more years when teams come in here, they're going to weep. Florian Kemp, the soccer player, dribbles it down the middle. Fallen on at the 17-yard line. That's a pretty good position without taking any chances as McIntyre, the big rookie guard, knocked all the air out of the ball. 6 plays.
Timmy Smith, who no one had heard of until not even last year when he caught the 83. Showing you some stuff today. Showing you some stuff that he really doesn't want to see.
You know, I played against him in college at San Jose.
All right.
I didn't know he was going to be a great coach. 1st and 10 now. Montana wants to get him back on the track. Sidearms one beautifully in the flat to Craig. High-stepping over the 25 to the 28-yard line. What a throw by Joe Montana.
He dropped it down and went through it like Quisenberry coming out of the bullpen for Kansas City.
Well, he does Western commercials, didn't I see him do a couple of those?
Sure does.
That beautiful blonde lady, huh? We're talking about number 16.
Oilers with a blitz on that time, and Montana picked it up and threw right under the arm of the on-rushing blitzer.
Remember his last college game? Everybody thought that Notre Dame was out of the game and they win the Cotton Bowl in the national championship in the last quarter.
Plus he had the flu or something to boot at the time.
Craig has 6 receptions for 52 yards. That's Nehemiah in motion, and Montana's back to work. Outside to Craig, the 32. If you're going to give them that play all day, they'll take it.
I was going to say it earlier, you know, you watch them play the last 3 weeks and they go there all the time. You almost have to have somebody spying on Roger Craig and be out there with him, because right now they're just burning everybody with that little dump off out in the flat, and nobody seems to get it covered. And then all it takes for Roger Craig to do is break one tackle, and he's turned a 5, 6, 7-yard gain into a 20-some-yard gain. He's
got speed. Craig, a very deceptive, larger runner than he appears to be, too. Fawnhorst seems to be holding up all right at right tackle. The big Pro Bowler at right tackle is back in there for the first time after missing the Pittsburgh game. 2nd down and inches. Wendell Tyler makes 2 people miss, gets great blocking, and storms into Houston territory to the 45. Some good blocking on the outside. People cut clear down, a 17-yard scamper.
You mentioned Fawnhorst. Watch him. Number 71 comes clear from the left side here. Now watch the block he gets on 56, Abraham. That's the right tackle. Down over on the left side, and there's a flag down on it, but great hustle by Fawnhorst.
Illegal formation. There was no end on the left side of the line of scrimmage.
8 penalties for 70 yards. That's deceptive not to have it end out there. As you can see, the coach not at all happy with formation problems.
Right, you kind of stutter a little bit, and I know he's just thinking back to last week when Pittsburgh stayed close and then got a good call on a penalty at the end, and look what happened.
And we've only got a 6-point lead. Montana quickly reloading, finds, I believe it's Nehemiah. Skeets Nehemiah kicks it into Houston territory and got hit coming across the middle. Donaldson and Bingham put the pinch on the hurdler.
See the hurdler, Nehemiah, there with the flak jacket on, so he's protecting himself when he comes across the middle with a little added protection, as does Dwight Clark, wear a jacket under his jersey.
4:32 in the third, a 20-14 ball game. Nehemiah, when he just walks, he looks like a walk-trot championship horse. You know what I mean? It's just different than the way I walk. Montana back to throw. Overthrows Craig just to get rid of it.
That's the first time they've had anybody out there. Abraham, that's why they're having problems out there, Pride. They got the outside linebacker basically in coverage, or they're blitzing him, and so it's up to the inside linebackers to come out in the flat to keep up with Roger Craig, and it's tough to do. They really burned the Giants with that play.
Couple of scores from the Wars. Raiders leading San Diego 24-20. Boy, the Raiders defense is getting a test today. That's in the third. The Jets 21-0 over Kansas City. The Jets, an amazing team, 5-2 coming in. Boy, New York would go bananas. Second down and 10. Handoff to Wendell Tyler. He's being strung out of the play. Still makes it to the 42.5-yard line.
Well, he just did that with speed, too. You know, getting around the corner. Steve Brown was in good shape. Avon Riley was in good shape out there. And Wendell just gave him a little, kind of a little juke, a little lean into the inside, and then got the corner turned.
Montana 20 of 27, 225 yards, a couple of touchdowns, one interception. Just another day. He ate all our guacamole dip, didn't he? We sat with him the other day. He went after guacamole like it was being rationed. What a player. Second down, third down and 4, on the Houston 41. The blitz is on. Montana being chased out. Now he throws it back across the middle and wastes one. Cooper underthrown by about 5 yards. He's got the small flak jacket on today. That's not that big one he had on for a while.
Yeah, he said he's really kind of healthy for the first time again since the start of the year, but he'll take some shots like this and go down like that. You know why they're not healthy all the time.
And that was the good news on that play. He's glad to get out of there. Runninger into punt. Carl Roach is back, the solo safety. Boy, Runninger gets off a nice stroke on this one. Oh, knocked it down. They're going to call it a touchback, but that's as close as you can get to having Cork. What a punt. I've never seen one knock down that little pylon that's down there before.
Well, if you hit the pylon, if you're a running back, that means you're in the end zone.
That's right.
So it means the same thing when the football hits it. So it was a good call, but
gosh,
Runninger's going to be wanting this one. Watch him. He'll give it a little body English. Come on. Like those golfers talk to it. Get legs, get left.
He kicked something that looked like the spaceship Columbia, and it hit the pylon. He had 3 out inside the 20 against Pittsburgh, and he has solved the 49er punting problem. Good athlete. First and 10 now for Warren Moon. They trail by 6 points. Moon going deep. Going for Herky Walls. McLemore steps in front at about the 25, and there is no flag down.
Good play by McLemore and good call by the officials, because, you know, a lot of times they could have called something there.
They've called something, but it's back in the pass protection pocket. Boy, I know these people, and they're so honest, but they're so good at their job.
That they see things that the ordinary person doesn't.
That the crew last week didn't catch, you know? Mr. Barth?
Holding 73 offense. We'll repeat the down.
That's Salem, the big offensive tackle from Cal.
Well, he was a number 2 draft choice here just a year ago, working against Dwayne Ford, number 76. It's out of the picture, so it looked pretty good up to that point.
Dwayne Cook, though. Here's the misdirection to Moriarty on 1st and 20. Moriarty bouncing out to the 18. Very hard to have a steady rushing game going against San Francisco.
Remember what he told us? He said he played nose tackle in high school, and then he got up to 240 pounds the next year or two, and when he went to Santa Barbara City College, he went up to the coach and said, I want to play football, but I want to play running back. The coach said, sure, sure. And he said, I knew the coach was thinking they'd give me like a one-day tryout at fullback, and I'd be at guard or somewhere like that. But I guess he ran over everybody in sight up there, and he's been at running back ever since.
Not very many carries, but they say he's learning every week. It's 20-14 with 3:10 left in the third period. Second down 11. Moon dumping it out in the flat. Moriarty's got to put the ball away. Gets away from the tackle. Has down and more to the 35. Tina Turner chasing him out. The Oilers are picking up the tempo.
Well, as you look at number 30, Moriarty, that's why Hugh Campbell, and we've said a couple times that he's going to get better with experience because he was not a ball carrier in high school. Ran a little bit in college, and he played at Notre Dame, didn't have a whole lot of carries there. Hugh Campbell said, if you would have told me 3 weeks ago that he would be our number one guy and might be for the future, I wouldn't believe it. But in the last couple weeks, he's proven different, that he is getting better with each snap.
What a carry for a first down. 1st and 10 on the 33 of Houston. Inside move to Timmy Smith. Makes the catch out to the 41. It'll be short of the first.
Rookie, so few people had heard of Timmy Smith last year when he caught 83 catches. Now this is a true story. I'm not making this one up, but you see the slant in from Moon here. The International Dull Folks.
Dull Folks?
Dull Folks. D-U-L-L. The International Dull Folks picked him as their most unrecognized athlete of the year.
Is that there? Where is that?
A great trophy to have? I don't know.
I can't believe it. I haven't covered their annual dinner.
Or are we members? You know, we're probably charter members and don't know it.
2nd down and a goal. The fake inside. Moon going for it on 2nd and 1. He has a target inside to the 38. Number 80 comes down with it. Eric Mullins. He's from Stanford, isn't he?
The rookie from Stanford. And they're working more and more now over in that Dana McLemore area where Ronnie Lott is out. Eric Mullins, number 80. Rookie, as I said, out of Stanford, a number 6 draft choice, and he was a burner. He was a track man at Stanford. Didn't catch a lot of balls there. A limited playing time, but they like his deep threat ability here.
His 4th catch of the year. You can see McLemore is hot.
And Lott is in the game.
The draw play, Moriarty. Inside, over people. And the crowd comes alive, but they're going to help. They said the fumble took place after he hit the ground. Number 30 went over the top for a first down.
Campbell said 3 weeks ago that Moriarty was running into the backs of the offensive linemen. He said he was running into them hard, though, but he was running into their backs and had trouble picking a hole, but he does a nice job here. He said, as like we said, he's getting better with each carry and getting that experience of finding the open spot.
1 minute left in the 3rd period, and suddenly the 49ers are backing into their own territory. 20-14. Edwards is in the game. Moriarty's taking a breather. 1st and 10. Inside play. Dressel makes a trap. Edwards gets a good trap block. Pretty close, down to the 20-yard line. There's Moriarty getting a quick breather. He'll be back. Tina Turner making the tackle for San Francisco. Remember what Walsh said, you can't stay in a game and let people stay too close in this league anymore.
That's true. You know, watch Chris Dressel. Now, the tight end make that block on the nose tackle. Michael Carter, you call it, rookie, came in motion, did a good job on the nose tackle, and that was the Springer.
2nd down and 4 on the 21 of San Francisco. Moon on the misdirection handoff to Edwards. Edwards is the first down gainer there. They're going right at the San Francisco defense with a massive young offensive line. Fawnhorst making the tackle, Jim and McCall. 4 seconds. And the clock is stopped as we have a...
Tina Turner's a little slow getting up out there for the 49ers.
That's Salem getting up. He is 290 at left tackle. Munchak, the big Penn Stater, 292 at left guard. He's the number 1 choice. Matthews, 285, the SC man at center. Schumacher Little at 280. And Steinkuhler, everybody's All-American.
He's the puppy.
He's at 273. First down. They're all baby-faced, aren't they? I don't mean the fans, I mean the offensive line. At the end of the 3rd quarter, the score, San Francisco 20, Houston 14. We now pause for a word from your local station.
Makers of the Prelude. Bud Light, the light beer with a taste that's satisfying but never filling. And by Radio Shack, the computer experts.
This city is 4th in population. Well, I'll tell you, when they hear about this Houston team and how they're doing today, there aren't going to be any seats left. They love it here. 3 points is all San Francisco got in the third quarter. First and 10 on the 17 of San Francisco. Moving a lot of time. Now he's being chased, but he's not rushed. Oh, an overthrow, number 87, Jamie Williams, downfield.
But he did the right thing that time, Burke. He did what Hugh Campbell wants him to do. He had a chance to go in the end zone down there. It would have been a very dangerous pass, but he dumped it off there to Jamie Williams. Campbell said that Warren Moon has to learn that 4 yards is important in the National Football League. He said in Canada it wasn't, because you only get three downs. So if you get 4 yards on first down, you're on second down, you're still 2nd and 6, so it doesn't mean much. But he said he has to learn and get in his mind that the 4 yards in this league is important, and he was trying to get that time.
And you know, even when he's being chased, he doesn't look rushed. 2nd down and 10 on the San Francisco 17. Pressure in motion. Moon taking his time, a lot of time. He finds Russell at the 11. He's tackled right away, but that was a perfect throw, and there's no completion.
Getting some time, too, now. They're doing a good job for him up front. He's standing in there and studying that thing and holding it until right the end and letting it go. Chris Dressel, out of Stanford, was one of John Elway's favorite targets there from the tight end spot. Look at this now. This guy's standing back there. He's as cool as the other side of the pillow back there right now.
A strike. It's 3rd down and 4. This is a large play in the game. 3rd down and 4 on the 11-yard line on a 6-point margin. Moon may have changed the play. Shotgun. Now he goes. A rifle. He's got it completed to Smith. The flags are down around the protection pattern, but the completion was at the 6.
Preliminary holding, too, against the Oilers.
Crowd's going to love this call. Few quarterbacks complete that one. Marino.
Bartkowski.
63 offense, holding.
And Moon. Munchak.
And maybe Elway.
And Elway. Munchak, the Penn Stater. Hugh Campbell does not get too excited on the sidelines, does he?
I think that's good for a young team, though.
To see composure there, huh?
Munchak is working against Big Hand Johnson, number 97 there. So far, so good. Obviously, so far, not so good.
It's
hard to tell anymore.
3rd down and 14 on the 21. Early in this 4th quarter, being chased. Moon gets away. Now he finds an open receiver at the 15 on his knees, Steve Bryant. Eric Wright touched him down. He's a good ad-libber, Warren Moon is.
He just convinced Dwayne Board he was. Board thought he had him lined up and on the trolley track.
Kemp has only kicked 5 times, 4 of which were good. He didn't play any football at Pennsylvania. He played soccer. He's kicked around with a couple of teams, and he's very cool under pressure.
Watch him lean over. He's one of those really leans into it here when he gets ready.
James is holding the punter. This will be a 33-yard attempt. It's no good. Missing to the right side. It had enough. And San Francisco breathes a sigh. It's 20-14 in the 4th. Warren Moon. But a lot of time left. You see the clock that Dunphy, our director, put in there. 13:10 left in the 4th. Montana going right to work. Dumps it over the middle to Dwight Clark. Clark now over the 35.
Lost that ball out of bounds.
Brazil putting the clamps on number 87. Boy, he scares you, this linebacker. How'd you like to have him thundering down behind you?
I wonder if the Raiders would have ended up with him. It's Bo Eason, I think, number 21 down. A young rookie.
He's the rookie from Cal Davis.
He's brother of Tony Eason, the New England Patriots quarterback.
Next week here on CBS, the big doubleheader. It all starts with the NFL Today, of course, back in the studio at New York. That's at 12:30 Eastern Time, 9:30 Pacific. The first game, most of you will see Atlanta and Pittsburgh. Now, you Steeler fans in Pittsburgh should get there early. The kickoff has been moved up to 1 o'clock instead of 4. Florida will see Tampa Bay at Kansas City. Indianapolis will get the Vikings and the Bears. The second game, most of you will see the 49ers and the Rams. Or you'll see the Redskins take on the Giants. The big doubleheader next week, next Sunday here on CBS. Boy, you can't ask for a better ball game than we've had right here.
No, unofficially, stat-wise, at halftime, Houston had 162 yards. They gained, unofficially, as I said, 152 yards in that third quarter. 49ers only had 58 yards and just got 3 points, so that last week's stat is still working against the 49ers. They don't score much in the third quarter.
And it is 20-14. A missed field goal by Kemp just moments ago would have brought them within 3. You can see Bo Eason being helped off. And believe me, that is so hard that you can have all the air knocked out of you very easily on any AstroTurf surface. 1st and 10 after the Dwight Clark reception. The toss. Back to Craig. Craig pulled down from behind by Stensrud, the nose tackle.
Well, that's pretty good movement for that big guy. That's the second time that we've seen him go coast to coast and make a play outside from the nose tackle spot. And they had the outside linebacker, Brazil, blocked pretty well again that time.
Stensrud looks like a Clydesdale, doesn't he? He's 305.
He slimmed down a touch, Brig. I think they think he's about 285, 290 now. He used to play outside of defensive end and moved into nose tackle. We said, we didn't think he was the quickest guy in the world. He might not be quick, but he's certainly fast. He can get outside.
12:20 on the clock and a 2nd down and 7. Montana going outside for Clark. Has it and steps out of bounds at the 48. Steve Brown there. Some other scores. Games and action is sort of wacky and wild this afternoon. You know this one. St. Louis beating Washington when O'Donohue kicked a field goal for the Cardinals after missing an extra point. Good for him, he did. The Eagles get even with the Giants, 24-10. They're 4-4 now, Philadelphia is. So are the Giants. Detroit coming from way back to beat Minnesota in a grudge match in the Central 16-14. Here we've got 12:15 left. 49ers almost at midfield on 1st and 10. The inside draw play. Tyler dragging people to the 47.
There's Mike Wilson, the wide receiver, who's strained a knee in the first half. Thought he might be back, but obviously at halftime they checked him out and said, "You're going to take the rest of this one off."
49ers have a pretty good scoring quarter in quarter number 4, at least so far. Chicago, the Bears badly beating Tampa Bay 44-9. Seattle on top of Green Bay 30-24. Forrest Gregg sure having his problems with that team right now. 2nd down and 6 on the 47 of Houston. Inside move by Craig. Notice how he covered the ball up to get to the 40-yard line and the 1st down without fumbling.
Can go right by Bob Ham, number 90 here, who gets good penetration back into the secondary and misses the tackle back there. Roger Craig just tough running. Ham had hit him about a yard behind the line of scrimmage, but Craig ran right through an arm tackle.
This is what Glanville was telling us, the defensive coordinator, that late in the game his troops are tired out there because they've been on the field so long and you can't get the ball away from San Francisco. Okay, 1st and 10. Rolling right, Montana. Off the fingertips of sure-handed Roger Craig.
First one he's missed in 3 weeks, and that was not a good throw.
Looked like a slider. Some other scores. Indianapolis winning 17-16 over Pittsburgh, and of course, to show you how crazy this league is, Pittsburgh beat the 49ers in Candlestick Park a week ago. Denver 37-7 over Buffalo. Miami 44-24.
Turned that one on late, didn't they?
12-9. Cincinnati over Cleveland. Those clubs get at it pretty decently, too. 2nd down and 10. Montana be chased. Unloads it, almost intercepted by a defensive lineman as Montana just tried to get the ball out of his hand. Baker had a chance.
Yep. Would have made his day, too. would have made his day. Montana doesn't ordinarily do that.
Would he have done some fancy running, though?
Probably not.
Riley and Joyner put the pressure on, and Montana had to unload. But Jesse Baker would have done some crossover moves that you'd have been proud of.
It might not have been too fancy, but I would have been the first helmet on him, trying to get him down.
Third down and 10, 10:45 left. A lot of time for a person like Warren Moon. The Oilers trail by only 6. Montana complete. Is it enough for a first down? It's going to be very close. John Frank caught it.
Good read by the rookie that time. Went down and spotted the zone and just sat down in between two players, and Montana got it to him. That's a Dwight Clark kind of move there.
Does Billy Wilson work with the receivers at all? It looked like Billy Wilson, the old 49ers stuff. He used to do those kind of things.
Billy's more out scouting than he is working with the guys on the field right now. That's just a product of the entire Bill Walsh scheme of things, Ricky, where they go out and isolate and pick on linebackers, and if there are other teams in a zone, they'll go to one hole in the zone. If it's not there, they'll pivot, slide, and Montana just waits for him to come open. He says he can read Dwight Clark, Montana does, whether he's coming open or not, just by his body English.
Well, we got body English time now. It's 4th and inches. Over 10 minutes left. 49ers need this one. Inside to the 28-yard line goes Wendell Tyler.
Tough run.
Over the top.
You know, that's how much confidence they have in Wendell now. There was a time last year, Tom, that they wouldn't let him carry the ball on that play because he was having some fumble problems. But they put him down now in those tough short yardage situations, and he's really responded.
I tell you, he's tough in short. You know, he's tough inside running. The people don't realize that.
Watch this effort. Craig, the lead blocker, going over the top, and number 26 is a human projectile, and he gets the first down. The second time that the 49ers have gone for the first down on 4th, and they made it both times. There's Wendell Tyler. He's averaging 91 coming in. Carl Monroe in right now. Oh, Montana unloads it and then takes a shot. Completes it to Dwight Clark at the 16-yard line. Pure timing there, wasn't it? I don't know how Montana got it off. Yeah, and just no way to stop that pass unless you just happen to be guessing right on it. He threw that ball just as Clark was making his cut and had it right on the money. This is about the best throw Montana makes, that out pattern of Clark. But watch what happens right here after he releases. That's like going over Niagara Falls in a barrel right there. And you know, I know it sounds strange, but knowing how to fall and not get hurt is an athletic move. Montana doesn't run too fast, doesn't throw too hard, but boy, can he run a football team. First down and 10 now. 49ers driving with 9:16, and they're down on the 17-yard line. Craig to about the 13. Jesse Baker hanging on. The Jets 21-7 in the 4th quarter. Joe Walton has turned them around. 34-23 in the 4th. Raiders. Always interesting to see the Raiders. They came in here for the opening game against this ball club right here. And I'll tell you, Houston fought them pillar to post. 8:39 left. Inside handoff. Wendell Tyler to the 5-yard line and wading through people there. Picks up the first down, and this is just exactly the kind of drive the 49ers needed and wanted. Time consumer, taking it down, mixing up pass and run, using the time on the clock, milking the 30-second play clock. Got the time down now to just over 8 minutes left in the ball game. They go in and get 7, and they're pretty secure with a 13-point lead. Tyler goes out, and Carl Monroe, young man from Utah, in his second year, a very, very good pass-receiving running back. There's it, working the clock right down. It's milking it. Montana hands off to Craig, who breaks in for a touchdown. If there's a yellow flag down on the 5-yard line. Line of scrimmage time. Craig did go in, but hold on. Montana officiating somewhat.
But nose guard on defense was offside. Penalty refused. Touchdown.
Well, that's what Quillen told us. He said 30% of the time the nose tackle and his helmets are touching.
Great effort here by Roger Craig. Bubba Paris over here, 77 with a job. And John Ayers too, but look at the effort right here. Looked like he was in turnstile there for a minute.
Large drive, took up a lot of time, and beautifully orchestrated by Joe Montana. Wersching's extra point is good. 7:50 on the clock. 27-14. Here comes Moon. 27-14. A beautiful drive by a team that's trying to go 7-1 at half point of the '84 season. And Wersching will kick off. You got to be careful. Herky Walls and Carl Roach's weight. They have blinding speed. Herky Walls fumbles it, picks it up, and he's dumped down quickly on the 7-yard line. I believe that was Roach's. 13 plays, 80 yards. It took 5 minutes and 20 seconds.
Remember, they had an 8-yard drive in the first half of this game. So they have done what Jerry Glanville, the defensive coordinator of the Oilers, was afraid of. They've manipulated the clock.
Herzig, the general
I almost made up a new word there.
Herzig has, by the way, 2 #1 drafts, the general manager here. They will probably go for a Hugh Green type impact player on defense and a tremendous running back probably for the offense. They're going to be solid. First and 10 on the 8-yard line. Outside throw to Timmy Smith at the 11. Smith hit hard at the 15-yard line. Ronnie Lott back in the game, number 42. You simply can't keep him on the bench. Game pretty much maybe out of reach, and he still wants to come back in, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, even the other defensive coordinators talk about him. Glanville said, boy, would I like to have had him down there in Atlanta with that crazy bunch I had down there. That wouldn't have been fair, would it?
Some drafts, San Francisco got the whole secondary. It wasn't long until they were writing out big checks in January. Inside trap with Dreschel, and Moriarty storms out over the 20 to the 22. Seems to be a very popular young player around here, even replacing Earl Campbell, who is certainly one of the greatest players that's been around in this decade.
Well, you know, it was interesting reading the newspaper articles after Earl was traded to New Orleans, and you know, they did like the men on the street interviews, and they were divided about 50-50. Everybody just really loved Earl Campbell and appreciated what he did for the franchise and the town, but half the people felt that that he was on the downslide, and half the people felt that the Oilers did a pretty good thing in getting the #1 draft choice for him.
Expensive property. He was a #1 and great, and they got a #1 for him. Here's first down throw as Moon. Boy, he really uses his blocking, what there is of it, very well. To the 28-yard line and sliding is Eric Mullins. How many great receivers have come out of Stanford in the last 15 or 20 years?
Quite a few of them.
Wow.
Sure, Loftons and people like that. I was really impressed with this throw because Warren Moon was kind of rocking back, leaning back on his heels with pressure, and pumped it in there all arm and in a pretty good spot.
Starting with really Gene Washington and coming all the way forward with Marjoram and Dreschel. It's right here. Second down and 2 on the 29. Moon now going to have to throw it on every play. He throws a rifle. Dreschel has it at the 40, the San Francisco 40 to the 30-yard line, and he drags Dwight Hicks with him.
Chris Dressel, who plays the H-back or the move-back position here on this Houston team. He's not a tight end any longer. He lines up most of the time in the backfield, goes in motion, comes out. Had a big game last week against Miami. And he's continuing it here this afternoon. He got pretty deep for a big guy on that one.
And a good strike by Warren Moon, a 42-yarder to Chris Dreschel. The numbers on number 88's afternoon. Crowd staying around and watching it, and there weren't many people left to put in here today. Moon is 22 of 30 for 310. First and 10 from the 29. Moon going up. He's got an open receiver. Jamie Williams takes it. I don't see any flags. Hello, touchdown.
Tom, Warren Moon is just doing an excellent job here recently of reading the defensive coverages. He's getting it to the right man. He's going there with consistency. Jamie Williams, the tight end. It looks like the 49ers are in a zone, and Williams just runs it straight up. He's kind of in between things. Dwight Hicks, number 22, will be the closest man to him. He's the free safety, but I think it was just a soft spot in the zone, and Moon had it to the right man at the right spot.
He didn't overthrow it either. He took a little off and made it get there. Here's Kemp's extra point. Well, you see what that last drive that San Francisco pulled off means, don't you? 5:18 left in the fourth. It's a 6-point margin again. Coach Campbell talking to the sideline judge about something. Got to be a little happy, though, with Williams' first touchdown as a pro.
Jimmy Williams, number 1. We told you the story about him. There he is, number 87, back there on the bench. Jim Hanifin, the Cardinal coach, told him, don't give up, kid. You can play.
They almost over-celebrated in the end zone. I was afraid they were going to get a penalty. 35-yard line kickoff by Florian Kemp. Young man in the funny-looking black sneakers kicks it 5 yards deep. Derek Harmon sets it down there. There he goes. He once took a ladies soccer team to China, was their coach. Tonight on CBS, don't forget, 60 Minutes, Campaign 84, the presidential debate, then the CBS News analysis, the Jeffersons and Trapper John M.D. But you people on the West Coast, it's Campaign 84 first, the presidential debate, CBS News analysis, then 60 Minutes, the Jeffersons and Trapper John M.D. That's on CBS tonight. We got ourselves a fourth quarter, 5:12 left. Montana's got to eat the clock alive. He's got time. Montana. Clark has it, and he's going to have it. He juggles it. Dwight Clark is going to go in standing. Incredible control and no flags down.
Boy, incredible concentration. Willie Tullis was there. We talked about Montana's arm. He got that one downfield, didn't he? He'll be muscling up now.
I don't know how Clark kept his concentration because it wasn't a feathered ball. It was flopping a little bit.
Willie Tullis, number 20, the right cornerback, had him all the way. Looked like he was in pretty good shape, and I think got a hand on the ball. It was tipped and batted around a little bit. Look at Roger Craig do a good job here on Brazil, the blitzing linebacker. That enabled Montana to have the time that he needed. Look at it right here. I think it's tipped, hit with a helmet. Tullis is now on by, and Clark stayed right with it. And that big, long strider, now, the longer he goes on the football field, faster he's going.
Remember, he had 85 one year, then 82 catches. A 10th round draft choice. Amazing. Wersching's kick, you know it's going to get in the clock. And give the offensive line for San Francisco a double-A grade because he could step up in order to throw the ball. Wow, 34-21. An 80-yard touchdown dash. Montana to Dwight Clark, going for the oxygen a little bit. There'll be a good flight back for these people to the Bay Area. Here's the kickoff by Wersching. That's Ricky Walls at the 1. Watch out. Now he's being nowhere to go. Red all around him, surrounded by 49ers. Herky Wall stops the clock with 4:49 left. Derek Harmon down under that. Don't forget, next Sunday, the NFL Today, of course, starts it all off from the studio back in New York. And the legend thing, the story that Irv Cross does, will be the young man that replaced Vince Ferragamo as the Rams quarterback. That's, of course, Jeff Kemp.
Will the Cinderella season continue?
I don't know who wrote that. Maybe Jimmy the Greek
Southern
wrote
California, that means does your Mercedes turn into a pumpkin at midnight?
And, of course, it's the Rams waiting in Anaheim for the 49ers as a doubleheader game in most areas next Sunday. That's your Mercedes. 1st and 10 for Houston on their own 12-yard line. They are being chased and dumped off as Big Hands Johnson. Safety Moriarty comes out for about 8 yards. Destined to go 0-8, but this is a good young team.
Talk about those baby-face-looking guys, the youth on this team. Look at Moriarty. And that big Munchak, the left guard, kind of looks that same way.
And they're going to work Romano into that offensive center spot so Matthews can bounce back out to guard. They've got a tremendous nucleus here of a ball player.
I don't think there's any question that they got a quarterback. After watching him today, anybody that's watching this one.
2 $1 million quarterbacks. Well, they're with it. Second down and 2. The ball is snapped away from Moriarty, who fights for it. It's going to the end zone. It's either going to be a safety or a touchdown. It's back out to the 2-yard line. And Houston recovers it and avoids disaster.
Did you see what happened? I really couldn't tell what happened with that snap.
Moriarty ended up recovering that thing. The hog bladder was alive.
I think it was like a shotgun snap, but Moon's under the center. It looked like, I really can't tell you, where they had a trick play called or something, where he was trying to snap it around Moon's legs over to Moriarty. I mean, that's a strange place to try it. I guess, you know, you're in a desperate situation. You become a desperate team, but I really couldn't figure that one out.
That was all in the end zone. I don't know how the ball got back on the 2 because Salem was back there.
Save that, or watch it go through Moon's legs right here now. Watch. See, it looks like it went outside of his leg.
He's looking for it.
Well, that's what it was. It wasn't expected. Moon wanted to snap it, just didn't get it.
The Oilers got it back on the 2. 3 minutes left now. Good strike. The number 32, Stan Edwards. On his feet still. Big fella hangs on, makes some yardage out to the 11-yard line.
Well, Edwards, a third-year player, ought to know better than to stay in bounds on that one, too, Tom. He should have been outside stopping the clock in this situation.
Clock is rolling, as you can see. 0-18, but boy, so young. They're going to be so dangerous. 34-21.
I guess I was wrong because it was third down. He did have to try to get whatever he could out of that one. I lost it down.
James is in to kick. He's got a 13-year career over a 40-yard average. 49ers will play it according to Walsh's book. Don't do anything stupid now. Let's get in the plane and get a cheeseburger and go home. Matthews is snapping. James is standing in the end zone at the Astrodome. Oh, this is a tremendous punt. McLemore to the 37, his own. To the 46-yard line. And as Wayne Walker and I have said this season, that 49er team seems to fit. All 45 have a purpose, and they take care of their own province, and they support one another very well.
Part of that is that they're all involved. Everyone plays.
So everybody will have a little nick to take back home, right? Say, well, I got to get a little ice. There's nothing like winning at pro football.
There's a flag down out there. A kick. Let's listen.
Face mask against the Oilers. Crowd very quiet now, but not horribly disappointed. They've seen Warren Moon.
But a flagrant face mask foul on 32 White during the run back is a 15-yard penalty for the dead ball spot.
Stan Edwards is number 32, so Barth, I think, explained that. 49ers will have tremendous field position they really do not need right now. Campbell, you got a good team. Hang right in there. It's 34-21.
Bill Walsh on the sideline, still with the headset on. That's an indication that he doesn't feel this one is completely in the pocket, although it certainly looks like it is. Matt Cavanaugh, number 6, standing next to him. Cavanaugh, of course, came in against the Philadelphia Eagles when Montana was hurt. Got the 49ers a win. They're an excellent job. Brookie said they're deep and talented, and I think more than anything, Brookie, I think it's the smartest team I've been around that I've seen. When I go talk to all of them, they just real sharp guys and know the game.
They're quick upstairs and downstairs. The toss back to Wendell Tyler to the left. Maybe 3 or 4 yards. Was that out of an eye or was that a pro set? That was a funny looking formation for a minute there. Mike Johnson making the tackle. As Glanville moves in his young people to get them experience. They had the 3rd toughest schedule in the NFL. The toughest schedule was Philadelphia. If you finish 4th in a 5-team division, you're in real trouble these days. Don't forget, next week the CBS Sports has the big doubleheader. Ball starts with the NFL today, and if the first game most of you will see will be Atlanta taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And you Steeler fans, remember, go there early. The game has been moved up to 1 o'clock instead of 4 o'clock. In Florida, you'll see Tampa Bay at Kansas City. That's a thrill. And those of you in Indianapolis will see the Vikings and the Bears. The second game most of you will see the 49ers, this team right here against the Rams. Watch Jack Tipp run. Or you'll see the Redskins take on the New York Giants. A big NFL doubleheader right here on CBS. What if his dad will be there?
I don't know. His dad might be busy.
Of course, Jeff is the son of Jackie Kemp, the congressman. Yeah, he probably is. He was a good quarterback.
Yes, he was.
Montana now trying to just get this last minute and a half out. Tyler coming inside.
Tyler's over 100 yards now, Brookie. Before that carry, he had 101, so tack on about 3.